Futures back to the upside here this morning ahead of another key inflation print coming up at 8:30 this morning. We got CPI yesterday. We'll get the producer side of things coming up this morning, expected to potentially have a 6 handle on it. So strap in. We could get a little bit of inflation pushback from the market after that. We'll see how the number actually comes out. Remember yesterday, for the most part, that CPI print better than expected across the board. All of this, however, bringing that rate hike conversation, conversation back into play. Both the ECB and the Bank of England talking about 2 before the end of the year. 63% chance we get at least 1 from Kevin Warsh and crew before December. We'll see how that plays out as well. Remember, the Fed coming up next week. Individual movers all over the place this morning as well, ahead of the big IPO coming up on Friday. Space stocks moving around. We'll touch on that coming up this morning. There's Oracle, downside, rolling over right now. I mean, the report itself actually not bad. Am I wrong to say that? Sharif back in the seat this morning. Good to have him here. The spend, however, and the rate at which they are igniting cash in flames seems to be a problem.
Absolutely, Brendo. A lot of money being spent here by Oracle. The market, none too plus about it, despite beating on the top and bottom line. It is a tough look for the company after they recovered somewhat on the technical side, but right back down into area lows. Hey, you can't really dog some of the stuff they're doing. It's not the only company that's trying to raise money. We see a lot of the AI companies going into the secondary market as well to pick up more money for funding. We've seen this from the chip makers, the tool makers. Nobody's really spared here, Brendo. The AI CapEx race continues to chug along.
This has been kind of in the back burner for a little while now and lingering in the shadows, if you will. That conversation about, when are they going to have to raise? When they do start raising, how's the market going to react to that? Maybe we're finally starting to see a little bit of negative pushback here from the stock market, at least.
Yeah, it feels like some of these risk-on assets that we've been keeping an eye on and that really have been chugging along since middle of March, early April. It's time to take some profits. I mean, the S&P is up about 35% off the area low there. Stands to reason that we have a little bit of a correction.
Yeah, we'll see how this inflation print, again, affects things this morning. All of the narrative coming out of Europe, all of the narrative coming out of the UK this morning, talking on the hike side of the spectrum once again. Kevin O'Leary coming up this morning as well. We'll ask him about where things are, in his opinion, as far as the economy is concerned, as this inflation battle continues. Again, this PPI print potentially going to have a 6 handle on it after we got the first 4 handle on CPI since 2023. Yesterday, we'll talk to him about SpaceX as well on Friday. Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
We were just talking about how Kevin has been saying to buy every single IPO out there, so I'll ask him why he thinks that. And, obviously,
eat him up.
A guy of, early venture funding and things like that, so he knows about getting into companies early on. Some show called Shark Tank and Dragon's Den and all that, so we'll ask him about how that's going with him there. But welcome New York Knicks fans. I mean, I was on my way back from baseball with Gia there yesterday, and we were listening to it on the radio, and they were up by 20 something points in the first quarter.
Oh yeah.
And I said to her, because she's more baseball, I said that's like, like the Jays being down like 7-0 in the second inning, like down 25 points in the first quarter. I was like, it's comebackable, I told her, but and I was like, it's highly unlikely. And then when she went to bed, it was even more. And then, as you said, the 29 points, the largest comeback in NBA Finals history. So
it's one of those, if you're a Spurs fan, that is gonna be a day in infamy. The good news for them is anybody that's interested in the markets is gonna forget about that tomorrow for when SpaceX comes around. But my goodness, Fox.
I know, I don't know what he was doing there, but I think he just thought he could get a quick basket, and there were only 6 or 7 seconds left. I don't know what he was doing there.
It happens.
That's the whole game.
All the kids in practice Aaron's team are just like, they're all Spurs, and every single parent's been like cheering for the Knicks. It's like the weirdest thing.
Oh, okay.
But let me disappoint. You're not disappointed if you own a space stock today. Rocket Lab is up. NASA is up. UFO, ASTS, Lunar, they're all, and everything, these are all been selling off the last couple of days. So like the day before, I guess they get a little bit of hype. Oracle, Schmoracle. You can't raise money and expect to get away with it in this market. No one's gonna care about your report if you say that you're raising money. That's exactly what happened. SMCI day 2, after, well, the bloodbath yesterday is going to be back into play. There's no other way to put it. These guys getting absolutely destroyed, down over 25%. Of course it will be SSR. And guess what? So SpaceX is launching tomorrow. There are going to be at least and already 3 instantaneous 2x levered ETFs have been announced.
Yeah, and they already got someone, was Oppenheimer, somebody
even wait.
came out with an upgrade today to market perform on SpaceX. So it's going to be exciting. Marvell up 5% as well. I mean, there's some names pushing around. Intel's up today.
Intel's up, AMAT, so
yeah,
that group's all up like 5.
Yeah, and Bitcoin 63,000. That's nice to see. There's Marvell trying to get higher there. Trying just to bounce off this level of 250. We saw that actually yesterday. And then IBIT just day over day. I mean, we see where Bitcoin is 63. I think it's up 3%, 2% right now. So there goes Bitcoin trying to battle back. And then, of course, as they set up on the desk, you know, you try to raise some money out in today's market, and yeah, not the greatest look there for Oracle. But as Sharif and Brendan's been highlighting, not a horrible quarter. I mean, they beat, and we can wait to see now what happens with Oracle back to the 50-period moving average. Do you believe in this build out or not? Remaining performance obligations grew by 360% to $638 billion. So they have a lot to look forward to here as far as Oracle is concerned. And yeah, just a little bit of a fall from grace. We've seen that before in this name, and we've seen a good little bottom down there. Are we heading back to that level? We shall soon see. But I just put here in the chat, and I'll put it again, like if there's any trading ideas that anybody has, you know, let me know, because we want to start going over them into the chat. Put whatever you guys can. If you're on TikTok, wherever you're at right now, let's go. And this is what we talked about yesterday. Late night watching the Knicks. Let's find some levels there today. Oh, Mike Peter Ryder likes Marvell and Nvidia today. Okay, okay. Oh, you're playing in my world today. Okay. You've been shorting them off the past couple days. 4 a.m. pop, good. Mo B says Micron and Fly. And this guy says he was rooting for the Spurs, but they deserve to lose now. I would think that most of that is true. I mean, they just did not have, like Wemby missed an open jumper in game 2, and then yesterday they screwed up the last couple seconds, which was frantic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Fox would want that time back. But.
That team is young.
Oh yeah, like Harper back there.
We're gonna get used to them, but this is not their year.
They will be.
You got to take the L first before you're ready.
I think they'll be in the finals next year. You know,
I can't like that team looks
maybe the next
so
10 years
legit.
actually.
And I'd rather them. I love Shea. He's a Canadian, and that's fantastic. But I was a huge fan of like when that team came together as a young team the same way like Denver did. But I just can't stand the flopping, and now I want this first win in the Western Conference every single year after all this. So yeah, Knicks, good for them. But I think the Spurs gonna be doing well. I like this fly. I'm glad that got brought up.
Yeah,
there's a few space names that look really good. You'll probably guess why I like Fly, because it held an obvious range. Like there's your what the?
Hey-o.
What was that?
We are in the Matrix
Okay,
now.
that was, did you guys see that? Oh, that's an animation.
What was it?
Was it? Okay, we're broken animation. Sorry
do it
about
again.
that,
I wanna
everybody.
see it again.
That was kind of cool. We'll just pretend we actually meant to do that.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh wow. Okay. Whoa.
The Fly is just messing up our.
That is a.
Oh, I see.
That's right.
what's
We had the
happening.
Fly on the screen. Okay.
Get that Fly.
I get what that is.
No, the yesterday's high
been
is
hacked.
the support level here. That 34.75, 35. Look for a continuation. This one's up more than the others. Like if you look, like ASTS is 4, but it hasn't broken this top at 93, and then you go like RKLB, which is Rocket Lab. Let's say RKLB to make sure I don't type it wrong. That's not broken the resistance from yesterday over 111. Like those could both break out, but when you look at Fly Aerospace in particular, it's actually out and about and above yesterday's highs. Gives it a little more juice. The only downside is its volume isn't as good as some of the others. But yeah, they're definitely going to be in play. Let's be real. Tomorrow, I'm sure other people will be looking at these other space names tomorrow. I probably won't be, because we'll only be looking at SpaceX. But sympathy plays do make sense. It's just that tomorrow it's going to be all about SpaceX. for sure. So that's what I'll be watching. And some small cappers moving around for Sharif. I don't know how many of them are holding, but there's I'm already chuckling because that CCHH. This one is like it's like a restaurant company in Malaysia, up 190%.
It's like yesterday I was like, oh,
it doesn't even matter what they do.
No, it's like yesterday I was like, oh, just find some, you know, some AI plays or some cloud plays or some space plays that are related in China. And then today it almost goes the complete opposite. It's like, you know, some sort of a restaurant play there in China. We had some auto parts name AZI the other day, and now you have CCHH going off there. And so, yeah, man, I mean, it's these pumpers and these dumpers keep this world alive for us here. But yeah, no, it's going to be another good day here. We saw a big sell-off yesterday in gold. I mean, that's probably going to be bouncing back. I actually didn't even look at it yet today, but I do want to have a look at gold, trying to bounce back. I mean, everybody's selling. I was saying, man, selling some of these marginal assets to get probably ready for tomorrow. And I don't know if that's going to be true or not. We did have USO, you know, the Iran. Unfortunately, the situation doesn't seem to be getting better for anybody, but oil is downside here, so that's trying to help the market get sparked upside a little bit. But yeah, we had some more bombing over there last night, and you know, hopefully some kind of resolution to what's been happening. But oil right now today down 1.28%, definitely helping out the broader markets. ES up 0.7, NASDAQ up 1, and you do have J&J. That was another name that people are looking to get into different names. AMAT's been really strong during all of this as well, and Johnson & Johnson's just had quite a nice little week right there from 220 and change up to 240. So, you know, that alone has almost been 8-9% right there just in a couple of days. So that one's definitely working out on the high side there for us. And then I was looking at Intel today too as a possible trade. So we'll have to see if that can bounce off that 110. We had a bad day yesterday in a lot of the chip names, right? But Intel's still holding out okay and actually looking right now like it wants to break back above. So Intel's a pretty interesting play here today, up 4%. We'll have to wait, 5%, sorry. I'll have to wait to see if there's some tradable action there on Intel. It's all on our watch list today. So, you know, have a look. Guys, keep it going on the chat, right? Put some names in there if there's any sort of high flyers like that CCHH. You know, put it in. We're going to be talking about that. Yesterday we had DSY starting to go off early, and we can almost, what's the votes? Okay, good. So it's new. Okay, Marvell. So all you got to do is push $, and then whatever symbol you want, and you'll get into that chat. Put it into the chat, and it will reflect it into that visualizer there, and we'll be able to see which names exactly you guys are wanting to look for.
EDHL, 192%.
There we go. We got another one. It's another one.
It's another one here, and obviously 190%, and you can actually see it holding some of its gains better than some of the other ones this morning. As usual, there's no, I can't remember, do any of these even have stories? I feel like we've been like very light on the news, but how big's our float here? This common theme has been the smaller the float, the better, because why not? 500,000 shares for this bad boy. 500,000 shares float. It's done 23 million, so they've turned that over just a few times. You know they're gonna run, you know they're gonna have fun, but don't get caught holding the bag. You have seen what's happened to some of these. DSY hit $20 yesterday. That was what everyone was screaming for in the chat. They wanted 20 bucks, they got $19.99. It's a $5 stock again. So like this is what can happen. You know, enjoy it while you can, but they don't last for long. And I know Sharif knows all about that. So you got a new one here, EDHL. Make sure you have fun and take some profit while you can. This one, sometimes it lasts only a day.
All right.
One I'm looking at, Neil, up 200%. It's the only one trading above the volume-weighted average price right now. Everything else is breaking down. We also had this PMAX try to make a big breakthrough, but it failed almost immediately. Everything trading below VWAP here, Brendo.
It's been quite the week already for these absolutely insane little Chinese stocks indeed. Another test potentially to come after the close tonight for this whole AI is going to kill software narrative. Adobe coming up. That's a weekly chart for Adobe. So we go into this Q2 preview at a 7-year low or near a 7-year low. I was reading an interesting article this morning that was making the case that the cost of tokens still, like if you wanted to perform a one-to-one task, essentially, let's just use Adobe as a good example here. Video editing, for example, if you wanted to perform that same task using AI specifically via tokens, it's still going to cost you more than it would if a human did it. So the narrative is simply becoming, are we actually there yet where AI can take these very specific skilled jobs, for example, with an Adobe, but this could be a really good indication of how this report comes tonight.
And you're bang on with that. It's the cost per token here is just increasing so aggressively. And you're seeing this both from the enterprise level and you're seeing it from the consumer level. Anecdotally, Chamath Palihapitiya on the All In podcast last week, or 2 weeks ago, basically saying he was using Claude so much on a personal level, he exhausted the amount of tokens that was available. So how did he end up getting around that? Well, he had to schlep out with his credit card, right? And that's exactly what they're doing. They're putting cap limits on there in order for you to kind of have that buy more program from them. Now think about the Uber example as well, Breno. We talked about the Uber CFO basically allocating about $1.5 billion or $2 billion, something like that, for their full year AI budget, exhausted that in 1 quarter. So they are very much using your addiction to these LLMs to fuel their top line, and then they're taking that top line, they're buying more computers.
Some of these, though, like some of these companies have tried to make the argument that, you know, maybe we get to a point where, if you remember back we're all old here, so we can have this conversation. If you remember back in the early days of wireless, there was limits to some of the things you could do with your wireless plan. Like texting had limits to it. You know, you could pay for more, obviously, but the base plans for a wireless phone came with, let's say, 50 texts per month. Yep. Are we in that same time right now with AI where, you know, eventually it just gets to a point where the competition eats up the need for this token system and we get just an open playing field?
I think that's a great example. I think that's a fantastic example there, and that's one that I sort of glossed over. I think that that's exactly it. And as we saw with the telecom industry, as the cost of expansion started growing lower and lower, and the cost of capital goods to build out all this continued to drop, we saw a drop in the pricing of plans as well. You started getting more unlimiteds. You started getting, you know, higher speeds at lower prices. So I think that's a great example. It's just, you know, how we scale and how this ends up coming about. Is there some sort of technological change that we get that reduces the cost, or are we going to, you know, look at a different format, putting data centers in space to lower the cost? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and is it the case where, you know, the investment or the token dollars, if you will, are better spent on the not so skilled jobs right now versus the very niche, very highly trained skilled jobs? So from a cost basis, you know, it still remains to be seen. But Adobe, guys, that's not a great looking weekly chart going into earnings.
No, it's not a good looking chart. But I mean,
all these names.
It hasn't been for a while. Like we're in a situation where like there's a lot of obvious good and bad and in favor, out of favor for a long time. And just to the point of what you guys were, the discussion before about like, are you already replacing with the humans? The problem is you're doing both. It's like you're still paying somebody, and then those employees are like racking up tokens as well. Like that's what happened to Uber. Like yuckity yuck. Well, like, what are you gonna do? I think when you find something like this that's broken, I suppose we could look. I mean, you said a weekly chart. Like this is the weird thing is like the daily chart doesn't even do it justice. As I have my weekly up on GE Vernova, something we were talking about yesterday. Like these higher time frames really show you like just how long this pullback has been. Like it's one thing when the market is like when 2021 happened for Adobe, like the market pulled back significantly. So when you get chopped more than in half and lose 65, 70% from the highs, it's like, okay, well the market's bleeding pretty badly and it's the biggest drop we've had in a while. But when you do it in the midst of the market effectively holding the highs, I know we're back off of it a little bit, that tells you a much different story. CEOs can say all they want. They can say all the right things in earnings call. Salesforce, perfect example of this. I think they're down like 7 days in a row or something like this. You had a recent rally in the IGV, and some people didn't participate. So even when there was a relief rally in the space, the names here in software that did not catch any part of that bid, those are the dead ones. And so right now, Adobe's a dead one. It's got another flat bottom break coming out in here, and 2018 lows are at about 200 bucks. So maybe that's a little something for them. But to the point, like when you guys are looking at, okay, well, what software name has been beaten up a little bit too much, or which ones are faring better than others? Like, try to remember, like, the IGV went a good, 40% off of the bottom, and recently has pulled back. So show me the names that didn't participate in that off the bottom by a significant amount. Like, if IGV went 40% and some went 10 to 15, or went 5%, or didn't do anything, like, those are in the ish list, if you know what I mean. So, Adobe kind of fits that bill a little bit. We got Adam James abroad. Morning all, QH, little Chinese friend, plus EDHL. So we were just talking about EDHL, but what do we got here? Kuho Limited Spawn ad, SPON ads. Like, that's just reading the name of the company from the drop down, because obviously no one knows any of these until you pull it up.
Right.
I'm just keeping it real. Like, I don't think any of these small cappers that are over 100%. Every now and then it used to be like they would come up and it's like, oh, we've heard of this one because it moved before.
Yeah.
Like last year.
Yesterday there was that CPOP.
CPOP was the only one that I think we'd actually even heard of before. This one, it's all the same thing at this point. No, no story, small float. Is it strong enough? But this one was at these prices yesterday. So I guess to do new territory, this one has to break 10 bucks. Like, it already showed you where it needs to get to. So maybe a $10 breakout on QH, and then it goes halting or something. Habitual line stepper, but that goes without saying. They seem to all be. The
market's coming back in here. And, yesterday's inflation number was something. We had the president tweeting about it. We do have today core PPI coming out. So at 8:30, we have an initial jobless claim. So there's more and more numbers coming out here today. I just wrote down on the sticky note today, for the first time, NASA. So let's wait to see if we get some space interesting plays coming out here. We're writing it down right here at, right now I'm just writing down the levels that I see, and this is the 200 period moving average at 31.80. So that's where I'm gonna watch that. And remember, this is a 200 period moving average that it ends at 4:30 and starts at 7. So it's not like an exactly 200 period moving average overnight or anything like that. So this is just what I look at early, and then we wait to see after we get 200 periods of data. So starting at 7 o'clock, this is each 1 minute. Okay, whoa. All right, there must be news, something. The market just went for it.
USO spiked.
The market is getting tanked right now. I don't know, I don't hear anything in my ear, but we'll go over to Brendan. What's going on over there?
That's the ECB hike coming through, I think. The European Central Bank officially has hiked their interest rates a quarter basis point, setting renewed inflation. So just exactly what we were discussing. Iran also coming through with some comments as well, saying U.S. strikes void ceasefire with Washington. We knew that already, but the hike narrative in full effect here, guys.
No, I mean, I think that's probably right as well, but it's oil. You're probably closer with the Iran thing, because there goes oil right there to the upside. So probably, here we go. Oh, Trump's saying they're going to take down cargo and infrastructure points and all the, here you go. So President Trump is tweeting right now. So once we get that, maybe if Brendan finds that on X there, but he says they're taking out oil now, oil infrastructure plays in Iran. They're taking them out, says President Trump. So right now, True Social post sending this market one way and the other way there. So this is why it's dangerous to write down some of these sticky note levels before it even happens, right? Like right there, Nvidia down $1, which is right to a level that I like to buy it right now. But we got to just hold on, because
I can read it off if you want.
Okay, oh, you have it? Okay, let's go.
United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense together with most of its offensive capability are gone very hard tonight. At some point in the not too distant future, we'll be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of the oil and gas markets, much like we have in Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention on this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Obviously, you guys can see the spike that we just got. So yeah, it's as you said, like some of the levels. I had a breakout get up on Intel that's probably not going to happen now. Silver and oil.
Yeah,
silver,
I think this market can bounce back. I mean,
we'll see. It might.
A temporary thing.
It might. And we have PPI in 5 minutes too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. It's a dangerous thing to start thinking about some levels, but there we go, man. It's sort of the dog that wags the tail has tweeted or truthed one more time. So, yeah, you know, we're just going to wait. I mean, we'll see. The market does have reaction. And if he's live right now tweeting, you're going to get probably something about this PPI number as well. So get ready to rock and roll here. It's going to be a good one. I guess he wasn't up too late watching the Knicks last night if he's up right now worried about all of this. But it's funny because the market was, you know, the market was doing good there. And then he came in. Normally, it's like he comes in to try to save the day with something, but the market was already doing good, man. Now you're throwing cold water on it, Donald. DraftKings has been a real successful story. I mean, the more that I think about, you know, this gambling story, like how much money they might have made yesterday, you know, just because of that comeback. It looked almost improbable right there, and now it's straight to the upside with such a great response to the NBA Finals, and then with what's happening in the NHL. I know that's not a big one, and then the World Cup coming through, and then also some shade being thrown on some of the prediction markets, right, and where that's going to go and where that's going to land legally, and if they're going to be able to continue to operate in the way that they are. You know, it's now not going to be as anonymous. You have to, there's different know your customer things and everything like that, KYC for a lot of this space. And there goes DraftKings, so smooth right now, up to the 200 period moving average. What a good couple weeks for DraftKings now, as well as that's starting to go back to the upside. But here we go, man. If volatility is your thing, it just picked up real quick right there with Donald.
Truth.
And normally we get a coffee by now. Now this guy, look, give me your plate.
Okay, you show the plate, man.
Give me this plate. This is what Randy comes with right now. This is like Denny's over here, man. Save some bacon for the rest of us, my guy.
It's all gone.
Oh, we'll take the healthy stuff, thank you. Here, this one looks a little more done. You prefer those, unless you want this one.
No, I'm good. This is.
All right, wow. Randy, man.
What?
That did look pretty good, though. Those eggs look half decent. So there he goes, man. Randy, half a pig for Randy there to start the morning. So.
And how about some options plays with your bacon and eggs?
All right, guys, let's get into some of the activity before we get the economic data print here momentarily. We're going to kick things off with Robinhood. A couple tailwinds for this name, some insider buying, guys. And then also we have the PDT rule. We're seeing this run into some key levels. We're going to be talking about that $90 strike price here this morning. First and foremost, we have a $6 spread, relatively wide for this name. But what I really want us to focus on is this open interest over here, guys, sitting around 19,000 contracts. And then also for the volume, 12,700. Now, as for our delta metric, guys, we're sitting around $38. It's quite a bit, right? We're a couple points away from where this is going to be turning at the money and then into the money. We are south of the specific zone, but $38 for a slightly OTM contract is relatively high. And then we're sitting on a $3 gamma. Also an 80% implied volatility. I think that's really important to note, a couple upticks. Let's see if we can break through this $90 supply zone. Now moving forward, let's take a look at the actual contract in itself. I believe we finished about 1% up on the day at that 4 p.m. close. But this contract, 54% to the top side, guys, so not too bad of a look. And then more than double, so 138% from the lows all the way to the high of around over $5, $5.25 you got on that specific contract. Moving forward, guys, we are south of this $200 marker here on ORCL, but what I want us to focus on is this $200 strike price. Now this is an OTM contract, and you're going to see this drastically change after the open, but this is documented after the close on yesterday's session. So the impact on what happened during the earnings report isn't going to be reflected in the options contract until 9:30, post 9:30. So now as for our open interest, guys, 34,700 contracts still open at that specific $200 marker, and then volume around 5,500 there. It's really important to note, you can see that that's correlating with a key resistance zone in ORCL. Now, spread relatively wide, guys. That's quite a bit, $150 there. Expensive, and you're going to have an at-the-money IV increase within the specific contracting. Now, as for the delta metric, $55. That's actually going to cool after the open, and your gamma is going to do the exact same thing. But what will remain throughout the session and probably until next week, until it slowly starts to decay, is the at-the-money IV sitting around 120%. Now, as for this, you can see we went on a big-time run. I mean, this contract went from $16 roughly all the way up to $5,400, but then proceeded to lose 70% of its value in the latter half of the session. So a little bit tougher of a look there on ORCL. Let's send it back to the desk, talk some PPI.
All right, a few seconds to go here. We'll get this economic data coming through. Just tee up what we are expecting here. Again, initial jobless claims and PPI for May to come. The headline number on the month-over-month expected to be, or forecast anyways, 0.7% to the upside, 0.3 for core. Last time around, it was 6 even. 6.4 is the consensus, 6.8 for the headline number down there as well. Continuing claims, nice downtick on a week-over-week basis. Last time around, 1.77, comes out 1.79, 229,000 on the weekly number. Higher than expected month-over-month PPI, guys, 1.1%. Core PPI, 0.4% to the upside. Again, higher than expected, 0.3 was the number everyone was looking for on that. We're still waiting for the index there. 157.6, 157.5 was expected. So 6.5 on PPI. That's where we are.
Can't say it wasn't expected. We knew that there was going to be a 6 print likely today. I mean, it is a leading indicator for CPI, right? Because you got to assume that these input costs are going to find their way to the consumer. They're not likely to be absorbed by the people at point of sale or the producers themselves. So it's just, I feel like this is just a matter of time. Like, if we cannot get the trade open, we are going to see likely rate hikes from the Fed. Now, the Bank of Canada, they really wanted to rate hike. They wanted to increase rates a couple of days ago, or was yesterday, and he really basically, the only reason he didn't, Tiff Macklem was the governor of the Central Bank of Canada, was because the economy is very weak. That is not the case in the United States. The economy is not weak, so you're likely going to have some sort of rate hike talks, Brendo, if we can't get this rate open.
This puts back the focus and the spotlight, at least, on Warsh coming up next week for the first time. What a way to start a new job for Kevin Warsh, coming into this environment where, you know, he's getting all this pressure and all this narrative from the White House to cut and, you know, be very, very conservative from that stance. But the numbers are saying something else.
And I don't know. I think I heard President Trump say he liked inflation yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did somebody say that? Like, I mean, I can't understand how in the current environment that could be said. But President Trump, of course, very well known to speak off the cuff. I think this makes Kevin Warsh's job a lot harder. You know, a lot of pressure on him. You know, not to be, you know, the executor for the president, to exercise independence. I think he's going to really have to put it down here, Brendo, because we're not seeing the direction of inflation going the right way.
But then in that interview on the weekend where he walked out, he also reiterated the simple fact that he thinks rates should be lower and that we should be cutting interest rates just to continue to, you know, fuel the economy and get things moving back to the upside. So a little bit of follow through. Just keep my eye on the overall market here. A little bit of follow through to the downside, guys, for the futures at this point on the back of that number. Again, higher than expected, 6.5. The headline number there for PPI year over year for May, full 1.1% uptick.
I mean, it's not been a good last 10 minutes, right? Like, we get the president basically saying what you didn't want to hear, and USO spiking higher, which, by the way, it's still holding some of those highs. And now we get, you know, we expected a bit of a hot print, and you kind of got what you expected and a little bit worse. So yeah, not looking the best. The only, if there's a I don't know if it's much of a silver lining. If there's any kind of a silver lining, if you saw the spike that we had after 8:30, well, like yesterday was higher, it ended up reverting that move. But the problem with thinking that you're not overreacting to this, so that whatever low gets made post this number could be some kind of support, is, well, there was a bearish tone into yesterday when it was driving back into those 8:30 highs. This is a little bit different. This would be a little bit different. If you're continuing the bearish sentiment, you wouldn't be looking for that bounce. But let's see where it settles down. Usually we make some kind of a bid or an offer after we get an 8:30 number before we get to the open, and I think that'll give us a little something to work with. But I mean, at least for now, you look at where you're at in the SPY. Like, I keep hitting that key, like this is going to be the highlight. I keep forgetting to turn that back on. But you look at, like, in the SPY here, the 702 area that was resistance all afternoon. Like, now that becomes a barrier to look at in the SPY, and the Q is like, which we're on right now. I'll go to the SPY. And you look at the SPY, it'll be the same thing. Like, we're losing the afternoon levels, unfortunately, and that's going to be, even if we catch a bounce, you got to figure there's going to be some fades in there. Like silver, which was already, I was already looking short here, already down 1%. this had not gapped up, so it was already relatively weak. That's why I think that none of the plan will change here. Silver and gold lost the 200-period moving average. They're trend down. Want to be shorting pops in SLV again today. So, yeah, we've already got two pieces of bad news. And then not even talking about the fact that Oracle's down 10% because they're raising. So you could throw that into the bucket as well. And really, you have three things going on this morning.
Yeah, and you also have maybe a fourth one right here as the dollar continues to go higher. So there you go. We'll wait to see. Hopefully that does not continue right here, the US dollar, for a long in the market. I mean, we'd like to see, obviously, the dollar be a little more stabilized. And as people go for a flight to safety, US dollar starting to go back upside right there. So we can have a quick look at that. And then I wanted to see what gold was doing here. Here's the NASDAQ going a little lower. And I think the numbers basically came as expected. It's just they're rate hike-ish, right? I mean, and when you are going to get that rate hike, now that pretty much solidifies that we are going to get some kind of a rate hike now. I mean, the odds are still the same moving forward. This is not going to be any adjusted here for June, and we only have 6 days left until that rate decision, and it's going to be a hold, and then we'll wait to see. And he talks about dot plot or anything like that. But you go out to December. Yesterday it was 41%. I mean, I think it's still, yeah. So it's too early. This will get adjusted very, very soon. But that's where we are now. And you're looking at one rate hike and then possibly two. But I feel like that will change over the next little while. So let's keep on watching that as it continues to go. Yesterday we were at, we went and, let's see this. I want to show you guys. We have, all right, let me go back to the beginning here and see. We went to the batting cage yesterday, and I was just like, I was late to see, but here we go. Starting to mash some of these balls. This is just the, I forget what they call this, the iron hand or something like that. These are just like little lobs coming in there, and some good hits here. She's ready
a
to
southpaw,
go. And rock and roll. No, well, she hits lefts like I do too. But she hits, golfs, shoots, everything left-handed, but is a righty. So that's the same as me. I'm right-handed, but I do everything left.
But hockey as well?
Yeah, shoot left, tennis, golf, everything left, but right-handed.
What's weird is I knew somebody that never made sense to me. They hit left, they golf left, but in hockey they shot right.
Well,
and I'm like, huh? How, like that's
no, it's like something like it's like 60% of the NHL shoots left, but 95% of people golf right.
April was actually revised.
I think it's weird.
Those things.
I guess those two aren't always the same.
It's really, it's really weird. But anyways.
Nice context.
Yeah. Good hitting there. All right, man. NASDAQ trying to bounce off just a little bit right now. We'll have to see what's going on. Yes, I do own BBAI. What is it still doing right here? $4. I mean, the plan is to get out around $8 something. I mean, it did. We were long at $4.20. That's our price. We've been long this average price basically forever. And last time we got out was in this melee here. And we were just waiting for that to happen again, but it does bounce, just like many of these stocks have, right there off the 200-period moving average. And I think it's probably worth getting another piece of, right? I mean, I like Big Bear AI. I think there's some good stories to be told there, the security aspect of it. Walking through all of these heat sensor machines and like X-ray machines for customs, for cross-border transactions. Also, the sensors going into stadiums, metal detectors, heat sensors, detectors, things like that. With FIFA coming up, I like Big Bear AI, and I just, you got to wait for it. I mean, it's not the right, we just talked about rate hikes. Like these little companies, man, are not going to be overly successful. Oh, yes.
On the rail.
Coffee has arrived.
I hope so.
The war will be over by July 4th.
I hope so.
Okay, declared over or? Thank you, Randy.
That's the thing. You could say the war's over. Appreciate it.
How was the breakfast? Okay, good. So it was good then. Sometimes the eggs are a little bit.
What do you mean? Oh, you ate it all already? Okay.
Ate it all. Egg got us coffees and is on round 2. But we
get it done.
Anyway, what was that? Oh yeah, so the war being over.
2028.
Yeah, we'll talk about EDHL there very, very soon, as that one's starting to go with that CCHH as well. But yeah, whether or not the war is over by July 4th, I don't know if it's ever going to be over. This is one where it's just going to hopefully continue to. Hopefully.
We just look, man. If you get tankers going through the strait
EDHL, by the way.
The rate, that's all that matters. Trump has tweeted about hitting. Every time the president has tweeted about hitting Iran, there has been good news at the close, like a ceasefire.
Has there?
That has always been okay. So 4-7. That has always been close to OPEX.
So maybe there's.
Well, I don't know that to be true. Anecdotally, I think I can think of a time that happened, but. it's something to look out for. Like if you've done, if you've done that research, and that tends to, and you see that tending to be true, then, you know, if things are looking pretty disastrous, and in the afternoon we're making some kind, like maybe it's the kind of thing where if you have like a day like yesterday, you catch any kind of reversion late. And again, if you've done this work, I don't know that to be true. You try like reversions. If it happens in the last hour, then maybe you try that. But you got to catch a bit of a trend break for sure. I don't know if you just want to be sitting around at any old level. If we do get a similar day, it's going to provide you opportunities to catch some bids in the afternoon. And I say similar day to yesterday, obviously. And we did have that. It's mixed in there. We had the super chat about the EDHL. Thank you, Adam James. Broad, for the record, I'm sure anyone watching saw what is this thing called again? Hold on, let me double check. Everbright Digital Holding Limited. It hit 15 and is still putting in higher lows. This seems like it's the strongest one out of all of them, but most of the highs get made early. I don't know how many, these are not falling through as like they have been before, right? Like that DSY, I think it made its top before we were even done the morning show, if memory serves. And that was the best you got. So, you know, take your profit and run when you get the chance to.
Yeah, most of the names are coming back as people wake up looking for these early opportunities, and there's no follow through, right? So EDHL right there, I'm not even sure. It's not on our watch list. I got to find out the story there with EDHL, but a nice little move higher. And just quickly, let's see if you know, there isn't. Well, there has to be something, right? EDHL. Let's just see if there's anything going on here. We have a float of. That can't be right, is it? 500,000 shares.
Well, it says, man.
So yeah, that's a problem there. And yeah, you're right. There's really nothing going on right here as far as Benzing is concerned. But yeah, short float 5%, but it's the overall float of 540,000 shares. Funny that it can still do 32 million when there's not even close to that around. But yeah, EDHL, there she goes. Watch out, $15. I mean, those have been the levels, man. We've already seen a test. If I'm long, I'd be looking to get something out in and around there just in case we do suffer that fate. And there's your DSY from yesterday. It was just, if you rewind 24 hours and we go back and start talking about this yesterday, look what's, just to Neil's point here. There it is. So a bunch of halts yesterday. And no, so it did actually make a move. The best move was 10 o'clock. So the high was 10 o'clock, but not too bad. In the pre-market, it did get to where Neil was talking about there, 11 or so. But then there's a spike up to 20, and then it didn't see that ever since and closes basically where we started yesterday, and now today a little lower. So we'll figure this all out. But yeah, that's DSY yesterday, EDHL today, CCHH today. There's going to be a couple different names to look at. This one's more interesting to me just because it's at $1, and you have your easy outs if you break it. So I would look for maybe a break and then a take again. We saw that with CPOP yesterday. So, okay, it's Joe, it's upgrades, it's downgrades. We're gonna figure out if there's any other names that we can look at here this AM.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. At the top of our list, the name reporting after the bell yesterday, Chewy, CHWY, slightly positive here this morning, but RBC Capital reducing its price target to $34. That's coming down from $47. Now, we also have Cracker Barrel here, guys, down 1 1/10% with a sell rating, but a price target increase to $34. That's up from $28 from Citigroup. Now moving forward, Lee Auto down about 0.6% with a sell rating, but we're reducing our price target at HSBC to $15.60. That's coming down from $17.20. Now Netflix holding that buy rating, but we're getting a price target reduction here, guys, at Jefferies to $118. That's coming down from $128. We're up about a tenth of a percent. Moving forward here, guys, Oracle reporting after the bell. We're down about 8.4% here. Overweight rating at Piper Sandler, but we're increasing our price target to $225. That is up from $210. Intel also getting the nod once again here, guys, going from an underweight to a buy, a double upgrade here. You're up 5% this morning, and we're also increasing our our price target to $135. That's up from $96. B of A giving them that nod. Now, Applied Materials up 4.6% here this morning. Overweight rating here as well too, guys. $650 price target. That's up substantially from $575. Cantor Fitzgerald giving Applied Materials the nod. Now, Cloudflare and ET, you're up 1% this morning. Outperform, but we're also increasing our price target to $260. That's up from $235 from Mizuho. A lot of positivity across the board. Seems a bit of it has been wiped out after the Donald Trump truth. I wouldn't be surprised if the market can find its way and recover here, guys. Let's send it back to the desk.
I mean, AMAT is an interesting one for me here too, because AMAT is one of those names where, you know, Applied Materials, it's in that stack. Oh, President Trump's on Fox News right here talking to Iran about a deal now, apparently. So we could see a other way around here. But look at AMAT just continuing to go higher. I mean, this is one of those names where we saw some Lam Research. We've seen AMAT here. We've seen many different names continue to try to make new highs. And obviously 510 there with that. Was that an upgrade or downgrade for AMAT? Upgrade, yeah, I was gonna say, because it's up 4% right there. So there's the move back in yesterday. Another name reaching 52-week highs. And that's just, you know, you don't see it too often in this market. They're 52-week highs. So there it is, AMAT right now, trying to get a little bit higher as we continue to look what's going on. And then Oracle on the list as well. Okay, yeah, Trump's still going. Let me just see what's going on. Doesn't know what's, all right, so oil right now still doing nothing. I just thought maybe here, he's on Fox News right now or speaking with a reporter there and talking all about the war right now. So USO is gonna be watched out. But yeah, just a couple different upgrades and downgrades. You know, the one that we got a couple days ago was DraftKings. And that one was really interesting because it spiked it through this 26 area. And so we always look at breakouts. So that was a good one. And I think DraftKings can actually continue and extend further there. So DKNG on a good little watch there, a name that you may not be very familiar with, DraftKings. And then we've also recently had some nice news, and I think this gets going a little bit more here, as the GLP-3 business is gonna be talked about very soon, and we've now had 2 or 3, 4 straight down days for Eli Lilly after making all-time highs. So the reason why I bring this up is the same reason as DraftKings, is that was, and then, look, it's a breakout at all-time highs, but at the same time, we touched out at 120, 11, 120, a bunch of times, fell back in, right, every single time. Even that the fourth time right there, we fell back in. But then we took it. So I'm gonna be looking here, if the market does lose a little bit of a bid today, I'm gonna look for 1120 on Eli Lilly to see if we can hold. There's somewhere around there, 1125. We'll just wait to see if there's gonna be some sort of a push there. But there's no volume on this, so we're gonna keep an eye on it. And then another name that I do like, that's getting a lot weaker here. We've sold out our position at 4. We bought it at 200. We sold it at 400. You know, it wasn't the greatest fill, but, you know, it did go to 430. And now it's coming all the way back in. ARM is also coming into an area now where if 200 showed a little bit of support and resistance down there, maybe we're gonna get something at 300. It didn't get enough time right here at 300 to make a decision. It just took off from there. So let's wait to see what ARM does if we get back into the $300 level for ARM. I mean, the market slipped up a little bit there, but as you've seen with yesterday's CPI number and today's PPI number, those numbers are nice in the moment, but they do have a tend to get going again. And yesterday, obviously, we did see an epic collapse in the market and then a little bit of a battle back. But, you know, for right now, we're almost right back to that number. So I like ARM there if it falls back into 300, Eli Lilly and DraftKings. So that's kind of like all over the place there. You get a little bit of consumer and some sort of, you know, feel on the economy with a DraftKings play, and then ARM is back into the stack again, and then Eli Lilly gives us some love back into, you know, some healthcare or some biotech names. And then obviously to talk about this, one of the strongest banks that's around right now, Citigroup getting a lot of love. They're going out at a nice level as well, right at all-time highs, Citigroup. So we're just gonna wait to see if these can sort of build out. I think if there's a bank that I'd be interested in right now, probably would be this Citigroup. I just keep on hearing positive things about it and starting to go back a little higher there. Symbol C,
they were the
Citigroup.
Best. They remember when the last round of earnings, outside of obviously Morgan and Goldman, but like the non-trading banks, like they were the ones that definitely did the best.
Yeah, exactly.
No question about it.
Lots of upgrades for Citigroup.
It was Wells that was Wells was the one that was struggling. That's the easy one to sort of stay away from. But before we head back up to the desk, I just really think we've seen this so many times. This 8:30 pullback, where you make the low or you make the high, and then you could be back to regular scheduled programming. And on the upgrade, the double upgrade for Intel there, that 114 that 2 days ago looked like it was going to be a breakout with room to the mid to high teens, it's still in play. Like, we're so close enough. It's a higher consolidation. Like, you've made some lows. So I'm going to leave that one as in there. The only difference is when it didn't break out at the open, it just didn't even trigger. I didn't look short after that topping tail. So I would it's the only thing I will change today. Is I'll still look for that break, but I'm going to change that if I see a topping tail on this opening candle, then I'm willing to at least jump into the short. This is on a 15-minute chart, by the way. So the Nasdaq's kind of clawing back a little bit here. And then remember, we're actually up. Like, when you look at all these chip names that are up and all the upgrades that we just saw, Marvell, AMAT, Intel, that group, it's led the Nasdaq a little bit higher here. And it is recovering decently from double barrel bad news, or triple barrel if we're including Oracle, for sure. So yeah, I don't think we want to overreact just yet. Like, at least there's some long plays that are still looking okay, despite this last little drop. So I'm going to be on Intel. The Qs aren't really coming back all that much. I guess you could say that's still weak, but 9.9% up after yesterday. I think most people would have taken that. To the desk.
Yeah.
All right, Citigroup, guys are mentioning there, I was reading a note this morning, kind of interesting. They're going to launch tokenized securities for private companies. Something that, I mean, Robinhood's been talking about that for quite some time, but I think, the market continues to be huge, and the demand for that continuing to be huge. I was also just reading $70 billion in retail flow, specifically for SpaceX coming up tomorrow.
That's fantastic, Brendo. A lot of excitement from retail for SpaceX, and a record allocation from Elon Musk. 30%, of course, of the $75 billion that's going to be raised are going to be dedicated strictly for retail. Now, we did get a little bit of that on this side of the border. Pardon me. We had Simple late. It wasn't as early as some of the banks in the States late offer shares. Also, we had another company called CoinSquare switch into Robinhood, so they were offering it as well. But this is a really good look, Brendo, and the reason is because we've seen a lot of these companies not go to public markets. They are staying private for longer. And the reason is there's more money in the private markets that they can tap into. They needn't go into the public markets immediately. We're talking about private credit. We're talking about private equity. And a lot of the funding comes from them. And so they're not as gung-ho in order to go to the private market.
I mean, it's a good start, I think. We'll see if anyone follows through. Do you want to grab that graphic you were showing? We had a good look at PPI. I pulled up a weekly chart of Micron. If you look at any of the memory names, kind of mirroring that graphic you were just seeing there on the screen. But first red week last week for the first time in a few weeks. But that tells a really good story.
Yeah, and this is a really underreported story. Everyone's focusing on oil, right? All the corollary effects that are going to have on the plastics and the other input costs that originate with oil. Very few, or very little, I should say, is being said about the memory component increasing the cost of electronic components and accessories, which factors heavily into PPI. This is not a small move, guys. I mean, yes, we were making higher lows and higher highs, chugging along from 2020 where this chart starts, but this is a rocket ship move here. Basically, December of last year, early this year, Brendo, we really had to take off above that 75 print, now trading at an 87 handle.
Not directly related, but there was a couple of interesting stories that were floating around over the past couple of days about Mac Minis and how the days of an affordable Mac computer have come and gone, and how a Mac Mini was at one point a great option, as an entry level into the world of Mac, but no longer. I mean, I was looking the other day, starting now, in this country anyway, starting now at $12.99. As soon as you start packing in a little bit of usable RAM into that, it can quickly creep up towards 2,000.
Absolutely, and that's exactly the reason. Component costs, right? You have RAM, you have storage, a lot of other corollary inputs as well. But let's not overlook the fact that this was a very much in-demand computer because people wanted to run their own OpenClaw at home or their own small language model. Even certain large language models can run on the Mac Mini. So there was sort of a run on that. Now we've seen, Anthropic bring in their own Claude computer. We've seen it Claude Cowork, Perplexity computer. We're likely to get something from Google. I think that would be the most needle moving, Brendo, because of the ecosystem tie-in. You've got your docs, you've got your calendars, you've got your slides. Goodness, you've got Gemini, you've got everything all in one cohesive whole. And so to be able to reference that, pull information off from that, I think that makes it the most competitive. But we're still yet to see that kind of deployed en masse.
The demand story continues to be the real underlying issue here. And I mean, this goes back to what we were saying about tokens as well. I mean, until we get to a point where the compute is available to actually meet the demand, the costs are just going to be incredible. Apple, obviously, with a pretty ugly red week right now on a higher time frame. But thoughts are, guys, for memory stocks in general. I mean, we're working on a red week for Micron. Last week, of course, was for the first time in a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably just easier to look at. I actually had Micron up too, but you can just look at DRAM. I think that's pretty reasonable in here. And you can see it's in the midst of a hefty pullback that, at least for now, has found prior highs. It's support at 56. As you said, at this point, like, demand is still there. So it's a matter of where the bid comes in, not an if thing. Like, the numbers have been absolutely tremendous. And I think every single quarter you're like, okay, well, is somebody gonna miss here? And it doesn't really happen with Micron. It doesn't happen with SanDisk. Like, there hasn't been that moment yet. Could it be next quarter? Could it be 2 quarters from now? I think that shoe eventually does drop. We're like, oh, things aren't as fast. Things aren't growing the way we've expected. But that hasn't happened yet. So I think you're looking at, for DRAM specifically, it's just basically been here at 55, 56, where you've already, like, you've made the base for this week, if we're being real about it. And as long as that can hold temporarily, like, you got a bit of a jump zone. And this isn't, like, we're up 4 points today, Micron's up 5. It's looking pretty solid for the chips. Like, actually, the NASDAQ is getting ever so close to the back where we were to start with. And I'm not looking at DRAM specifically. I'm looking at Intel today off the upgrade if we're looking at the chip names. But I think you've got yourself a temporary bottom. Oh boy. There is an elephant in the room tomorrow. All bottoms that we've been making recently on this pullback are temporary, because I know SpaceX isn't the most related thing in the world, but if it does cause a market-moving event, then these levels aren't going to matter that much. So yeah, I think you want to see this hold the week down here at 55, 56, and then you can start doing some victory laps that this is where the support's going to start to come in, because the demand is still there for now. And when it isn't, we'll know, because it'll be another 20, 25 points, but probably not till next quarter when you'll be able to see some of the newer reports, some updated information from Micron.
Yeah, I still just gonna follow Jensen, I think. And,
Excuse me.
we've been talking about Marvell for a minute. We obviously, it was one of our picks, but this is up 5% again here today. And it's been violent, right? Marvell's been a pretty crazy name up here. It's had huge moves back in, but now we're looking to see, after a couple disastrous days, and as Neil said, we're gonna get through the SpaceX, we're gonna get through all the supply issues there, and then people can stop using, like myself, the excuse that the market's coming down because people are raising capital. Hopefully, SpaceX will go off fine, and it can go back up to the upside. People can take their profits, and then revert back to buying things that have been working, right? So I like Marvell. I still think that's a workable trade, right? We did see a good trade, a lot of people trading it. We just saw, even last night, Neil and I were talking about some blue ocean trades on SOXL, and it's just, this is, again, it's been very, very choppy up into here. If it's some days up 12, down 12, it's nuts. So I think that once we get through SpaceX, and it still has to happen, so we'll just wait for tomorrow. And then I think next week, we just really retrace back up to the upside here, as money will just float back in, and we got to see. if SpaceX comes out at 150, it tanks down to 120, 110, people might not get a good feel, you know, about the market in general. But if it's well supported, then that money can, you know, hopefully come back into work and start to work back into SOXL, SMH, things like that. Trump's like, I mean, I'm not repeating everything we're hearing, but like there's still some talk here about more bombings and more this and more that. So, you know, there's stories on the platform here. So, you know, just be careful with USO and what's been going on right now in the Middle East and what Trump is saying. Lagarde is now speaking as well. So there's lots of stuff happening on that side of things there. And then it's the Oracle trade. And we're going to go over that. But I have the top 2 names on here today for me, and you can go check it on X. Is Nvidia long and Intel long. So I have the 2 longs ready to go. And I don't know if Oracle's ready yet, but you might get a 10% bounce when we go SSR. So we're gonna watch out for that. And it's pretty key there, it's at 180. So 180 back down in. Trump is now gone from Fox. So we'll watch out for 180 possible bounce back for Oracle. But hey man, it's 8:59 right now. You got to get that link in description to get the watch list. Oracle's the #1 story on there. And we're going to be going through everything right now. I mean, it's an earnings play. Watch out for VWAP. We're going to talk about it right now. It's Oracle. Let's go back over to the desk and talk about some of these names in our rundown. But before we do that, what time is it? Almost that time there. We'll just take it for a couple more seconds here before we go. But the thing about the PDT rule too is it's created a lot of opportunities for names like EDHL coming out today again, 350, 360, 367,
oh my
366. Like this is just going. And there it goes again, just trying to break through $17. Oh wow, there it goes, 17. What? Like this was not doing anything. This was just at $15. I just called it up randomly. And here's the energy right back in. The good thing about this name and what we're going to talk about right now is Centerpoint right here. This hour is brought to you by Centerpoint Securities. Centerpoint gives you access, and here we go, this is the key part, to an extensive, easy to borrow list from multiple locate sources, alongside a trading platform designed specifically for active day traders. So if you're not happy with your platform, go check these guys out at Centerpoint Securities right now. If you visit centerpointsecurities.ca, use /TraderTV and get that today, you will also get your 90 days of commission-free trading. So, you know, back and forth, it's set up for active day traders. There's many active names right now. We want to thank them for hooking us up with, and all of you up with, those 90 free days, because there goes EDHL to 17 again and right back into 15. So if you're active on this name, man, you could have scalped it now 3 times up there at $17, and now we get a little bit of a downside play here on EDHL. So yeah, we want to thank them. Make sure you do scan that QR code right there. Experience a new platform. Let us know what you think about it. It's Centerpoint right there. Scan that QR code. Get your 90 free days of commission-free trading. So I think that's, you can't lose if you're doing that.
I mean, with no PDT and with commission-free to be able to take advantage of these, I can only imagine, you know, if you're a small cap trader, this is your Super Bowl right now. Like you're probably not even the small cap trade. Like you're probably thinking, who cares about SpaceX tomorrow when you have one of these every single day, because you're just not. It's not often that you'll see things like this, like multiple names every single day, 40, 50. You know, I almost said 40, 50% move. I'm like 200, 300% moves, 500% move. We've seen 2 with 1,000% to the upside. And they're doing tremendous volume. That's the crazy part. 37 million shares, and it's 9 o'clock. So we're gonna get into the watch list. There's always things to talk about in terms of news stories, but sometimes it's just about momentum in the market, and that's all these are. It's just pure, unadulterated momentum. And you gotta have fun with it while it lasts. Because it won't last forever. I think this does slow down at some point, but it hasn't yet. Not even a bit.
It's hot.
Get him, Sharif.
725.5, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. That puts us 4.5% off all-time highs. As you saw, we did defend that 725 area. We barely did because we actually lost it during the midday yesterday. We dropped all the way down to 721.25. We're above 725 right now, but below 730. We're up about half a point. So first R1 level, resistance level 1, Brendo, we're looking at that 730 area. If we catch a bid, perhaps maybe a deal gets struck between President Trump and the Iranian regime, we're looking at 735 as support. If we continue to sell off, area number 1 for support is going to be 725.5. That is yesterday's closing print. And then if that fails, we're looking at 720 as support level 2.
Time to dip some toes in the water, I think, once again, around these areas, maybe for the overall market. If you haven't done so yet, jump down to the description below. A second link down there will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. As always, if you haven't done so, grab that. It's free. Comes right to your inbox every single day, has everything you need to know on it. Every single morning before you come join us at 8 o'clock. Let's go. Oracle on a bounce right now with the overall market here. We held 180. That was 180 down there initially this morning. Trying, at least right now, to hold higher, but all comes down to the spend.
It is, yes, exactly. $40 billion is how much they're going to spend next year. The market didn't like that at all. But listen to this, guys. I mean, they're raising, they're spending, and yet they still have some of their own customers paying for the GPUs. Just let me make this point for a second. $75 billion of their RPO, and which we'll get to in a second, consists of customers either prepaying for hardware or buying and supplying NVIDIA's GPUs themselves, essentially forcing some of their clients to kind of be, you know, their upfront supply chain link. I've never seen it structured like that. So a lot of money's being spent here in CapEx. Let's get to some of the revenue numbers, though. This is a record top line number, $19.2 billion, accounting for a 21% bump year over year, and their non-GAAP, underline that, a beat of 211. But when we look at things a little bit more in a detailed fashion here, we see that, okay, yeah, they have record operating cash flow, $32 billion, but they have negative free cash flow, and that's because of the CapEx, again, $23.7 billion. They have a good amount of RPOs, but they've always really had a good amount of RPOs, $638 billion of RPOs, and a 93% surge in the revenue for OCI, that's Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Let's also talk about the what's it called, the 500 basis point gross margin squeeze. So their non-GAAP operating income rose 22%. But when you look at the GAAP metrics, and that's what matters to me, we are down about 500 basis points, or about 5%, Brendo, year over year.
Yeah, interesting level here if you zoom out as well for Oracle. We haven't been down here for, I mean, a month and a half kind of thing. We're all the way down here again, 180 coming into play, which is that high essentially on a weekly chart. So still constructive overall, guys, but needs to hold here, I would say.
Well, yeah, I'd say it needs to hold. I think the market doesn't like the spend. The market doesn't like the concentration with OpenAI as a primary customer, a future obligation. It's just until there's some more clear sense that, you know, we're going to be reacting positively, or not, that's the wrong way to think about it, not reacting negatively to seeing that spend, to seeing sort of the cluster within the space and circular spending, or entire reliance on one or two companies for your future revenues. Like that's the kind of risk that the market is not happy with at this point. And so you're at 180 and you're at the 50-period moving average. If it doesn't hold here, I think you could see like the 60s and the 70s, and the timing, we said last night, like, yeah, the timing of this one might be bad because we had this pullback and the SpaceX thing. It's just, yeah, it was probably not going to be the best moment for Oracle. So all that said, down 9% doesn't seem that bad to me. Like I kind of thought it could have been worse here, especially with that 40 billion number out there, and it didn't do it. So it hasn't broken that 179, 180 low. That's still in place here, which gives it an outside shot for one of those old SSR bounces. Like if it's 9% right now. Obviously, if it were to break 180 and try to snap back, it would be SSR at the open. For now, it's not. I don't think I'm really looking for this one as a short to pop. I think there's a couple of things out there that will be a little bit more interesting. But if we do a false break of 79 or 80 and get that bottoming tail through one of those two levels, kind of like with SMCI in the afternoon yesterday, just look for like a quick little bounce play. But we're not at those levels yet. Yeah, I think it actually could have been a little bit worse.
This might I don't know, man. I was pretty risk on today, but I don't know, all this talk and this move down in the NASDAQ and my dreary voice. No, but you know, I was same ways, man. We talked about this a couple minutes ago, and that was that Oracle down here at the 50-period moving average. That's generally been a decent spot to look for some support. It also kind of matches with past support levels. You know, like when that was being supported right there, the 50-period was, you know, $15 lower, and even here we almost got into it and still didn't. So right now we're into it on earnings. I mean, that's what's going to happen, right? Stocks are going to move around, and you always want to give it a couple days. And I think that's the same truth here for Oracle, because if the market comes for it, like yesterday at this time, SMCI they needed 7 billion. These guys are going to need 40 billion. So SMCI was down like 11 or 12% in the pre-market, wound up being down 24, 25%. So there is pressure on Oracle. And I don't know if the bag holders that have bought up here, I'm not sure that there was too many of them. But definitely, you know, breaking through 200, 210, you know, probably got some people pretty excited that we were on the way back to the upside. And they were right. You know, they were right for 20%, but now it's come right back in. And I just want to see if there's going to be buyers at this level. So I think that the best thing is sort of what Neil was indicating there, and we talked about it earlier, was wait to see if that 10% winds up hitting, and then maybe you get a little bit of a relief rally off that 180 in a SSR situation where you can no longer, and what SSR means, if you're just joining us for the first time or uncertain of it, you cannot go short off the bid. So you have to the only way to get shortable shares is to sit on the offer, meaning that the stock has to go up in order for people to short the stock. And that forces people to be unable to hit the bid. However, for a stock like Oracle, there's so many shares out there, and there's a lot of traders that own Oracle. Hitting the bid is probably not an issue because there's a lot of longs out there. So we could get some people dumping their shares today, which would execute on the bid anyways. So yeah, we'll wait to see what happens around 180, that marker there for ORCL. All right, let's go back over to the desk. Are we buying space? I have, for the first time ever on here, NASA written on the sheet here today. So we'll wait to see if that comes into $32, 31.75 area. Let's go grab the story. But first of all, we do have this.
Dave.
Fable 5 is impressive. Benchmark published. Get that stupid sticky note thing out of there. Take with grain of salt. Okay, what Fable 5? What, I don't even know. That's a Gemini thing? Or is that Claude? That said that doubt ChatGPT will pull rabbit out of its hat, but Gemini will do the same thing to ChatGPT. Leapfrog its 3D chess and poker. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to reread that because right now, I guess every day there's new benchmarks. Fable 5 is related to what? Did we cover that already? No, we don't know. All right, let's go back over the desk. You guys know anything about Fable 5?
Is that Claude's newest? Is that what it is?
I haven't heard of you? No. No, I haven't heard of it. Let us know. This was kind of interesting. Shout out to Bespoken Fest on X. I mean, obviously a very small sample size, but this is every first day of a new Fed chair, like the first meeting of a new Fed chair for the S&P 500. There's never been a positive one since they started actually announcing the rate on the day of the meeting and then having the press conference after. It's 4, actually 3 with the average itself, but it's never been positive. Ahead of.
And I don't think that's going to change, quite frankly, right now, because I don't think he's going to be able to change it.
Yeah. Total other side note, were you a fan of Bryan Adams when you were a kid?
I was. I liked his long hair, and when he cut it, I was upset.
I just read he played a concert in the Bentway last night underneath the Gardner for the FIFA free concert.
Well, actually, I did know that. There was him and another artist.
I think it was Wyclef Jean.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Yes, I did hear about that.
I would have gone to that. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about space.
Let's talk about it, guys, because NASA, I've got the chart up of NASA here, but there's many ETFs now, and there's going to be more. As Neil was speaking about this morning, there's going to be a lot of ETFs that come to market that not only track the space index, of course, but track SpaceX specifically, and they're not going to take long to come to market. But, you know, I did want to speak about SpaceX here just momentarily before we all get pumped up for tomorrow's IPO, and I'm sure I'll repeat a lot of this tomorrow. There's a lot of debt on this company now, and it's not because the company's not profitable, it's because of the private market merger between XAI and SpaceX. That is something that you need to really be okay with when you're taking this on, and it's not going to stop, okay? Because XAI continues to bleed about $2.5 billion per quarter. You need to think about that if you're going to punch into this name. Also, yes, record allocation, 30% for retail. It's a good look, you know, especially with this anti-billionaire narrative that we've been seeing and hearing a lot more of. It's good for him to allocate 30%. However, analysts are worried that that 30% is going to be the exit liquidity for about $7.2 billion is gauged here to be possible sell orders coming on day one. The question is, are there going to be more buy orders, obviously? And then last but not least, Brando, let's be real about this. This is Elon Musk's company through and through. He has 85% voting control, despite only holding about 42% of the equity of this company. So it's not going to be like Tesla, where you can fight him in the board and, you know, have a proxy fight. It's not going to be that way. He structured it so that you wouldn't have to go through that again.
One of the things I want to get Mr. O'Leary's opinion on today, is this Elon Corp, or is it an entity we can value in some way itself? UFO, Michael Noss' favorite here, if you want just an ETF, UFO. One to look at anyways, guys.
Yeah, and if we want to get to these memberships here from David Zed, my good friend of the show, and thank you for the super chat earlier, but get your memberships. You have to, if you want the free gifted memberships, you've got to be in the chat. So when these get sent, and I see Dylan gets one, and Brooks Trades, and we have Wen Yan as well. I see Micro Millionaire in the chat as well. No, if you want to get those, you have to be in the chat. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be in the chat, you can ask questions, you can engage in the community, and possibly get those free memberships, in which you will also get Sharif's note. It's got Oracle in there, you've got Microsoft can get his butt kicked, Meta. It's typically, I mean, you're getting double-digit pages of information and technical information as well. So shout out to Sharif, and thank you for the memberships there, Dave. We appreciate you and all of you. I'd mentioned that Phi, while not doing the best volume, was the one that was the most interesting to me, but its volume is low enough. It was holding the prior highs. I wanted to make sure this was holding the prior resistance, which it's not. If it's not breaking and holding above 35.5 after the open, it's probably a pass for me. I would venture to say on the UFO NASA thing, for anyone trading out there, NASA just tends to do more volume, which makes it probably the better vehicle if you're a day trader.
Well, that's what I was going to show everybody right now. The volume on this already, 500,000 shares for NASA, and the volume for UFO, although obviously Brendan just mentioned it right there, 34,000. So more than 10x on NASA. So for day traders, yeah, look at that. But they're both in the same space. There's also ARKX, which is a space for ARK. So there's lots of opportunities there. There's ARKX to the downside. They're all starting to go a little lower right now, obviously, as the hype is potentially real. But I just want to show you guys one little thing here about what's in the NASA ETF, and just in case, you know, we were all sort of wondering right there, it's Rocket Labs, #1 right there with 7.5, Planet Lab, Viasat, AST, so these are all names that we know, IRDM. I really like our IRDM, actually. I think that can work out. GSAT, Siri, Sirius Satellite Holdings is in there as well. Why? Because it says Satellite Holdings, I guess. Sirius Satellite Radio, Garmin, Global Stars. So this is what's involved in the NASA ETF right there, so something to look out for. And I wrote down 31.75. I mean, obviously during that little, I wrote it down earlier, but in that Trump tweet, and we talked about this right at 8 o'clock when we went on air, and that was looking at the 200 period moving average. Well, it's held, and it actually held here. So when Trump was sort of going off there about you know, Iran and so on and so forth. And then plus we got PPI that came in right to our level there. We had written it down on the note, 31.75 for NASA. So let's just keep our eye on that. And I think the long should be good today ahead of tomorrow, right? I mean, it's an easy way to get involved in the names instead of just having to worry about picking one. This way you sort of get them all. Like, I mean, Rocket Lab should be able to work. They all should be, you know, catch a little bit of a bid tomorrow. The only reason why I think it's hot today is because we don't know anything yet. So this is almost like a news versus rumor situation, right? Right now, if you're buying this today, you're buying the rumor, and then tomorrow, when SpaceX comes out, then you're more trading the news. The news is the IPO itself. So get excited today, and then tomorrow could be, obviously will be a monumental day in the space right there. Okay, when compute does, yeah, so by the way, we did find out that obviously Fable 5 was the new Anthropic and Claude version there, and as we had mentioned last time, or as the Super Chat had mentioned, benchmarking, beating all the other ones, so yeah, there's gonna be lots to talk there. So this just comes when compute does finally meet demand, does this tank memory? I mean, or more of it because we bought. When compute finally meets demand, I mean, yeah, whenever there's a supply and demand push, I mean, I think that's why Micron sort of started to go hard, was that they were really the only provider of that type of memory. And then we heard Intel, we heard AMD, this CPU game starting to get picked up there. And then we have all these data centers that need to be built out, so there's more involved in that. The GPUs, everything has a piece of RAM in it, whether or not it's a computer,
and you're just charging
a
more for
TV,
it.
a car, or whatever, right? And so I think as demand meets supply and vice versa, yeah, prices do naturally come down. But I still think we're in relatively early.
Well, I'd agree with the relatively early thing, but I tend to think that at some point when that does change, yeah, and if prices do come down, that could be not the best moment for the stocks. But we're not there yet, so I don't think we have to worry about it. Oddly enough, we're talking about memory next anyway, so this kind of blends right in. I don't think we're at that moment yet, but I would tend to believe that would be true. And thank you again for the super chat. Let's go talk about the next thing, which is memory. Although, are we really sliding?
Man, I can't wait until we are at that point. When
Yeah,
we finally, can you imagine unlimited tokens?
Oh. Unlimited.
You know what? I don't know if we get there, but I think it'll be a lot cheaper. I think that example that you used at the top about data is so apt because remember like what 5 gigabytes was like? That I mean, you're using 5 gigabytes in a day sometimes if you stream a video now. So your point is really well taken.
It's funny though, I had on some phones you can put a warning. So it can warn you when you get to a certain point in a month cycle of where you are at data. And I had a 2 gig warning at one point I saw in my settings file that I turned it off obviously a long time ago. But as you said, I mean, you can use 2 gigs in a day now if you want to watch a movie or something. But anyways, DRAM, yeah, I mean, memory holding up a little bit better than the market at this point, but everything a little bit leaky, let's call it, after that print at 8:30. Some of these headlines we've seen.
Yeah, there's definitely general market weakness. That's something, that's part or separate from the RAM names. But I was buoyed a little bit by this headline here, guys. SK Hynix chairman says company will triple wafer capacity by 2034. It's not the year that interests me. It's the statement and the approach. We talk a lot about RAM being a cyclical business. There's a glut, and then there's not enough of it. And that's what kept a lot of people on the sidelines despite the rising memory names. But the narrative started changing. The narrative started changing to the sense that this may not be cyclical, that the RAM may be a core component in the AI build-out for the years to come. If that's going to be the case, then we're not going to have the peaks and troughs of demand. And that's kind of what this article at least signals to me, right? That you're looking about 8 years down the road and you're looking to expand capacity that far down. Perhaps, they know something that we don't. So we'll have to wait and see. And by the way, SK Hynix kind of sniffing around a North American listing.
That would be exciting. Your ASML, by the way, I was reading an interesting note on that yesterday. I think it was around 700 billion. Maybe the market cap around that 700 billion mark. The most valuable company in Europe at that mark, and SpaceX is set to come public at nearly 2 trillion. Unreal. Memory, guys, thoughts?
Oh man, no, I'm getting a little chuckle out of that last statistic that you just said between ASML and what SpaceX is going to be. No, I think we were talking about, we've talked in depth about memory, but if you're looking specifically for today, again, the market's holding up pretty decently, but we're under VWAP. The news wasn't good so far this morning. USO's kind of hanging out in the green. I think if you get any kind of a dip, it's been showing you 55, 56 on DRAM on this pullback. So I think you get down in there, and that's where you look for the buy zone, the prior high, the May highs, and then back into that mid 50s makes a little bit of sense. If you're looking individually, you could make the argument that corresponds with about 850 in Micron, and like somewhere, 850, 860 in Micron, they're all going to be relatively similar. So they've put in a hard bottom, and it's been more of a bounce zone than it's actually been support. Like it's falling heavily when it gets there, and it just happens to turn around a couple times. So I think you got to look for a little something like that. Right now, I know we're gapped up, and things are looking pretty. Like if you just look at all the percentages, things are up. Like if you look at your quote board this morning, I think it's a little deceiving. Just given what the futures have done, like unable to sort of bust the last 2 days resistance. And then of course, with both the PPI and the president's comments kind of sending us the other way. I'd love to see us challenging some of yesterday's highs. because I think we could really fly, at least for one session, but it's just not happening yet. So I think you got to wait for that support on DRAM. And again, on Micron, that'd be about 850, I think I said.
Talked about Clover the other day. Yesterday, they got a different rating on their CMS star rating. Got upgraded there yesterday. And Clover here, just I know it's not a memory stock, but this name has like really been on something. I saw you guys were talking about this a little bit in the chat, but there's that break of $4, and now we're up to 5 and change. And I just want to bring this to your attention because there's Clover all the way back here to January of 25. So you're back a while into this $5 mark, and we just broke through it right now. Not easily, but we're through it. So that's $4.90 top, now up to $5. Watch out for Clover starting to get going here. Lots of float, right? 400 million shares, 7% short on CLOV and Clover. A good name, man. These guys are a healthcare technology company. And we've seen a name like Oscar. Also, some of these newer names in this space. I mean, UNH has really been working, so forget about it. That's probably the winner out of everything. But you know, this has almost tripled here since the April lows. Clover from 11 up to $28. So it's just there's a lot of hot names here, especially some of these lower cap names here in the space. So there goes Clover Healthcare. You know, again, proactively managing cloud-based solutions in the Medicare division. So Clover nicely moving now upside, well traded. If anybody's had this, man, a break of the 200 period and then a break of that $5. Watch out for Clover. Maybe a pullback into that 480 today gets us long on CLOV. But there's just another name to look at, only doing 600,000 shares right now. This name could really start to pop through. Good report yesterday on that CMS star rating, and then upside here for Clover. So good look out there. The luck of the Irish in this stock. All right, oil volatility just a little bit, but the thing is, even when you look at oil, and we'll talk about it, it's still kind of in that same range. It's just been bouncing around that for USO anyways, 130 to 135 or so area. But yeah, I think crude does have probably a 150 handle on it later on this summer. I mean, summer driving going to kick in. Forget about all the stuff that's happening. You can't forget about it.
But if the war's not over,
oil
too,
generally, you know, in the summer can inch up as summer gas prices start to hit the pumps a little bit there. So, all right, let's go talk about oil with only 5 minutes left.
I cut off almost 3 people yesterday when I saw 164 at the gas station and pulled in as quickly as possible to get gas. That's as cheap as I've seen in a long time around here. So
especially downtown.
Yeah, it's coming down, which is good, ahead of what Sean was talking about. But I mean, a couple of red weeks in a row here for USO helping.
It's not helping, and I think President Trump's comments, however honest that they were this morning, don't help either, Brendo. Iran bombing tonight will be more powerful. At least, you know, he says, I don't want boots on the ground. I mean, there were a lot of statements he made. Iran is finished, as well as, you know, will be more bombing tonight. Bombing will be larger, etc. I think, obviously, this creates a bit of an issue. But we saw yesterday something novel. The passage through the Strait of Hormuz through a new route, which apparently was being protected by the U.S. Navy. Now, you know, smaller it is, obviously, so you can't get as many boats through, but does that raise the ire of the Iranians, and does that affect negotiations? We know the blockade is severely hurting them. They're running out of places to put the oil. They don't have any money coming in. Yeah. They're really having to rely on other people extending them credit so they can continue to kind of build out some of the military-industrial complex, whether it's drones or those short-range missiles. So it's a tough look here, Brendo. I don't really know how to square to circle.
Yeah, let's see how prices play out here. Maybe a temporary reprieve, which everyone, you know, can benefit for or with at the pumps. Scott Bessent this morning, kind of interesting, saying that any damage to neighboring Gulf countries going to come out of Iran funds.
That's exactly it. The United States has seized a lot of Iranian funds, as well as the Europeans, and it will form part of the negotiations as well. You know, Kuwait shut down the airport today because of that same issue. They've all been hit before, and they're going to look for reparations.
Let's see what happens in the next 24 hours. Could be key here, guys.
Yeah, I'll say so. But, you know, at least for today, the spike when the president made that truth was at 136. Yesterday's highs, you know, 36 and a 36.5. And then you look back, anytime we've traded in the open market to about 136 on USO, we've had a top or a turnaround, one or the other. We either stop just basically stop dead there or we turn around off of that level. So unless we break out and start holding above 136, that gives you a level to work off of for reversions, for when we pop up there, maybe look for some longs in the market to calm down a little bit. So I think that's what I would be playing that level for. It's Thursday, so that means another chance for Boyle at 10:30 to go. Last Thursday, it did a bit of, it was here on the 4th. And then if you go to 10:30, it did a dip and rip when nat gas futures came out, when nat gas numbers came out. And then the week before that, it was a gap up, and it just went straight up. But it's typically been, if it's in a downward trend or a consolidation, it'll do a dip and rip, I think the last 4 weeks in a row, or it just does a breakout. But you're looking essentially for like a bottoming tail candle at 10:30 on Boyle, or wait for that 136, 137 on USO. If we get another truth, and we're busting out through 137, then I think you start looking at some of those squeeze names again, like Battle was a mover. Watch out for that if the USO gets through 137.
Yeah, we got just only 2 minutes to go. Here's a super chat. Oh, I'm pushing it, but it's not sending. That's okay, I'll try to refresh it. But here it is right here. We have Meals here. What's up? $10 for EDHL. Yeah, man, it's starting to go one more time. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Say yes, sir. We will be looking. Oh yeah, that's right. I just refreshed that site.
It's not.
By the way, it's not. It's offline. Okay, good. All good, Andre. No worries. And then thank you, David, as well, man. Look, these are $5 each, so 10 memberships. We want to say a big thank you for that, Dave. And you know, this gets you that morning node, gets you some of these cool emojis and whatnot. So thank you, Dave, for all the support there. All right, Brandon, give us a story on Intel, and then we'll start trading that one.
I was taking out the highs right now real quick, but double upgrade here. Nice.
Yep, from underperform to buy at $96 to $135. Bank of America was previously one of the biggest institutional bears for Intel. So this capitulation is big, and it's driven by that $3 million TPU deal between Google and Intel.
Key levels above here, guys. 115 coming into play here in a hurry.
I wrote down 114, but.
Yeah, 114 is a potential breakout level there. It's small imbalances on Oracle, sell side, SMCI, buy side. They're nothing too big or to write home about. But Intel, it's on a collision course with this resistance at $114. So like multiple days in the last week, it looks like you could break it right away. And then you have prior highs at 110. Right, so prior highs 110. If it fails a break, I think you head back down into that 110 for a test. Otherwise, this probably breaks it right away at the open. 10 seconds to go. The opening bell brought to you by VinFast, VFS. Scan the QR code in front of you. I want to thank them for sponsoring the opening bell, which is nowish. Or right now.
Bang, there we go. The NASDAQ opens up 0.6% right now. S&P 500, 0.4%. There it goes. I mean, Brendan just talked about 115. It literally just touched 115. And there it goes through 115 on the double upgrade by Intel, on Intel by Bank of America. Waiting for a pullback would be pretty sweet here. So let's do that and see if the market does have a little oopsie moment and we can get longer or get long period on Intel. There goes 115.
Well, that went right to 15.
Yeah, that's it. 115 is going to break. You could just see that it's very violent right now. There's some size there, but it's going to just rip right through it in a matter of moments. I would think so on Intel. All right, so Nvidia, we wrote down 102. 202 long, and here it's going, trying to break through a little bit right now. Let me try a little bit now. I know we're buying it late here on Nvidia because it did have that move down into 105, 101.50, and now we'll wait to 201.50. Now we'll wait to see if that is some sort of a bottom. I'm gonna take another bid if it comes back. I missed that 202.50, Phil, so if it comes, oh, there we go, we're long now. So now we have a decent start of a position. Let's just see if it takes out that early low of 201. If we wind up breaking that right there, then I'm gonna stop out because that was a real trade down there. So we'll get a little longer at 201.50. Watch out for 201 break. We're into Nvidia right now.
Yeah, and off of the pre-market highs on a pullback, it's working now. Whoa, and here comes a real pullback on INTC. It looks like it wants to lose that volume-weighted average price. Might be the early L on the dip buy on this bad boy. One note, I am looking to short silver again. It has not gotten to any of the highs at 58 even. Good, yeah. And also SMCI is really flying. It's at 20, it's at almost at $30. If it does a pop and fade at 30, then I want to jump into a reversion short on SMCI. So Intel did hit 115. I see 115 exactly. So 115 actually didn't break.
No, it was right away off the open.
Yeah, it didn't actually break 115. But if it takes out 115, 117 to 118, if you go out to a 15-minute chart, is going to look pretty spicy.
All right, so we were into this name pretty early, and that was Nvidia. And man, I hate that it's 932, and we're sort of already thinking about, you know, putting on a little bit of a bigger position, but it just came in there. I am going to wait for 201.50, so we'll take, you know, an average in here at 201.50, and then after that, if it drops out, then we're out of this stock, right? I mean, there's no point in sitting around here. We have no idea what this day is going to bring to us, but we'll wait and try to play a strong name today. Stronger is Intel, so if that dips in, we'll try to take that just a little bit. Let's go check out what so I'm long. I'm trying to get long right now. There we go. Now we're long. We just took another fill there. So the NASA ETF, not coming with too much hurrah here yet. $32, I guess, open up to $32.40. That was nice. And there, that's, okay, here we go. So now it start, whoa, okay, that was, okay, well, I don't know, I guess talking about it is doing something to it. But there goes NASA with a nice little pump up there. So we'll
UFO has zero liquidity,
by the way. Pump it
That is,
all right.
UFO, the market opened up and it still doesn't even print.
Right, yeah, that's what I was saying. When Brendan brought that up, it was more of a Michael Noss, like he was talking, like Michael had talked about it.
Oh, because he swing trades.
Yeah, so there was just something there on that. And I just think that Michael maybe didn't, you know, NASA might have not had enough data points to it, so. Anyways, there goes Nvidia. So we're back to flat on it, right? This was the whole idea. We're long right now at 201.80s. So let's see if this, there we go. We get some out now as it's starting to go back up to the upside. We'll take out, I just took out 20% there at 200, 202. Why do I keep saying the wrong prices?
200?
Yeah, 2000 right now. Yeah, we both just retired. Hopefully, tomorrow is one of those days for SpaceX. We'll see, hopefully people can make a little bit of money on that one. But the position board is also not working.
Oh, shoot.
Andre, so
quick update. Long Intel, 113.70.
Oh, that's
maybe the next
price.
fill. Oh, I did get SMCI here on that 30. SMCI, the bid's coming in. I did that 30 level over under here. It got up to about 30.15 or so. So the stop is through the high. Despite the market coming back in, the buyers are liking this. I'm going to get another leg out here if I can, in the mid 29 range. SMCI catching a really big bid. Intel did get through the 115 again. I meant to show you guys a 15-minute chart. See this wick up here, 117? I think that provides you with a bit of a target. First things first, hold the 115 that you just blasted through, but try to get up to that 17 from about, I think it's like the third or the fourth a couple of days ago. So SMCI, hey, I guess some people are trying to buy it temporarily for now. Position board is off, so yeah, just long Intel, short SMCI.
We'll get that
right now, looking for the 117 target here on Intel.
And by the way, there goes J&J again through 241. So, you know, another name that's sort of been talking about for a minute there. Try to get, and I'm in this in the low 220s. We just bought it last week, and we were talking about this name. So there goes J&J, a nice little move higher there. So we like that one. Nvidia, you're already on Intel, so that's a good one. And then the other one I wanted to look at here, if we did fall into $35 again, was going to be IBIT. Just, you know, thought if this market does continue this move lower, probably Bitcoin follows it, and we're gonna wait out to see this 35 level. That's where we closed yesterday on BTC. So was thinking about dip buy opportunities right there. Unlike that Intel, I don't think Nvidia, I mean, is it not good anymore? We're not really getting the run that I had sort of hoped that we would here on this name. So I'm gonna put another out in and around the 80s because it looks like we're getting lower here. We're gonna stop out at a 201 break, sorry. So don't wanna be in this if it's not working.
The market's coming back in.
I know the market, yeah, but the market still seems to be okay a little bit. It's just this name. I think there's a lot of fire on Intel right now, and that's where all the look is. So we wrote down both of these. I'm glad Intel was in there, but for right now, that's the name that's starting to pump up on the double upgrade, not Nvidia. So if we drop out on Nvidia, fine by me. Wrong one right there, right now. Yo, what's up in the chat there? What's up, Bearded Warrior Trades? You're saying Google. We're working on the position board, so I'm long right now on it here. Maybe I can take let me take a little bit on Nvidia. Does that load up now? No.
No, it's still, even if you get a fill, it's not really
okay.
showing.
Yeah.
But we just had, so 16 just went. It went to, I'm talking about Intel, as you guys can kind of look at here. 16 just went. It went through the half. I put a trail in and got triggered out, so I'm now out, but it looks like it wants that 17 level. And for what it's worth, the NASDAQ is seemingly catching a bit of a bid. So there's Intel getting to those teens, but the NASDAQ now pressuring to get back through the Qs through 700, but get back through VWAP. So that also means for myself, this SMCI, like it gets to VWAP, but it's putting in a higher low. There's a good part of me that if the market is catching a bit of a bid, do I take this? Yeah, I think Yeah, I'm gonna take VWAP on SMCI here. It's still SSR, it just went green. Scalp trade has worked, but this bounced off of the low yesterday on an SSR day 2 play. So we'll just take the scalp trade in there. It'll be about 60, 70 pennies, and maybe that's all. If it goes further, it goes further. But yeah, the other thing that I wanted to be looking at today was silver. Thank goodness I am not in that one yet, because I feel like I might have been trapped under VWAP if I had traded that instead. We'll let this one get to the even dollar if the market can get us there. That'll be 58 on SLV. Man, Intel's even stronger than I thought. Still.
Yeah, Intel's a beast, man. Intel's a beast. Right now, let's see if Nvidia can get
any dip buys in that
as
stock,
well.
for sure.
We did buy a little bit more down there as we saw it kept on, thinking about what it wanted to do. So we'll wait to see right now what what Nvidia is exactly up to right now, because it is trying to go. I don't know if there's much love in this market right now for Nvidia, and I'm not really even sure why, to be honest with you. I thought Nvidia should continue to work out, but it doesn't really look like it wants to go. Considering the market just bumped, we didn't really get the same kind of reaction to Nvidia. So we're ready to get out of this one. We're not going to average back into it, but we still want to give it a shot just in case. It is underneath the levels that I did like, so not a great start there for NVDA to start the day. Someone said they really like this hoodie. The best part about it's not for sale, but the best part is on the back it says, "I'd rather be trading." Hey, see, how's it going? There, so we used to, there, can you guys see that? Yeah, it says, "I'd rather be trading." It's kind of a little fun thing as I drop the mic everywhere right now. Randy's not in tomorrow, so that's can't motivate us for those SpaceX trades, but he'll be thinking about it.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, he can.
You can send a message
he always
if he
can.
wants to.
Over there, Randy was mentioning dipping his toes into Rivian yesterday. So,
well, Rivian, for what it's worth, and
interesting.
you know what, before we get to Rivian or anything else, the market is now it's really starting to head back in a little bit. But LASC, so there was actual news on LASC, unlike some of those other small cappers. Shoot, I had put it in the chat earlier, and now I just accidentally closed the news thing. Let me get it back up here and fire it up. Boom, they completed final assembly of its laser shield anti-drone prototype. So there you go, but it just goes to show, this is a weird thing to say, you're actually better off in small caps that are like random, like Hong Kong, China, that don't have news and ridiculously small floats than an actual company which is doing something. Because it'll go 20%, 30, 40%. The ones going 100 or 200% are the completely irrational, nonsensical ones where it's all volume. This is something real, bouncing off the 200. It's just watch out. Again, it couldn't get through 3 to 340. You can see it plain as day on the daily chart. So it basically closed the gap, and then that was it. But I guess we're in this weird circumstance where being a real thing is not to your benefit.
Not real enough.
Well, that's the market we're in, and you just gotta be able to live with it. Like it would be frustrating if you're long lays on an actual story and you get a small capper running, and then you gotta watch EDHL go up a bajillion%. But that's just how it is. By the way, just a quick update, because I did cover SMCI at VWAP. Like I'm out of that short. And it might be the wrong decision, but I did cover it. So I just wanted to let you know we're
The short seems right. I mean,
no, but we're having issues with the position board. I'm out of the short. I'm not still in this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my prices have been changing on that because we've been averaging in. So yeah, it is a little wrong, the position board. The position is right for me, but yeah, not working.
Is that another super chat for Lays, or is that the same one?
Maybe. I'm not sure if that's working yet or not. Okay, yeah, there's some glitches right now. So we're going to work on all that. Maybe we need to reset at some point, but the team is on it. So we want to say shout out to everybody working over there. All right, yo, what's up, Randy? Yeah, you good? Yeah, he's okay. Okay, that was all right. All right, so right there, Nvidia's finally starting to try to go upside. We are long. My average price is 50, so we'll see if it's going on. Yeah, I'll take off. Maybe an espresso, Randy, if that fancies your.
Oh, you didn't hear that.
Yeah, I think you'll get us both one. I think he heard. All right, so I have another offer right now at 78s, just because that's where that 200 period is. That's like sort of the best that we've been able to get right now on Nvidia. I am long at 201.50. It's not like it's a huge trade here or anything, but just trying to wait to see what's going on. Right now, just hearing in our ear, we just heard Google was downside. Look what's happening to Amazon right now. Man, this is not great. Amazon getting killed down 1%. And yeah, I don't, killed is not the right word for that, but downside. Look at Google. Google has, I don't know, see if you can find anything on Google right now. That is straight downside fire right now for Google, breaking through the 50-period moving average. That was a couple days ago. And right now, down 2%. So, hey, man, yeah, maybe I don't feel so bad being in this Nvidia right now, but it is not moving. Nvidia and Google moving a lot lower right now today. So Intel's upside, Google, check out what Apple's doing.
Only for now. Intel's
Apple 291, that looks like that's going lower as well. It's still zeros. And then, as Neil just mentioned a couple seconds ago, EDHL, something that we're looking at. They're halted now, $14 downside. Yeah, go ahead.
No, my issue with those things is if they trade reasonably well, these halts are getting a little bit ridiculous. Like it trades fine in the pre-market. You're not saving anybody and you're not helping anybody sometimes by not widening the spreads even a little bit when you have all this volume. It's on 44 million shares. There's liquidity on the stock, but it is another halt here. We're gonna go to SIA. The market is absolutely bleeding, and unfortunately for an already weak name, I know you showed a couple of others, Microsoft is at 388.
Yeah, yes.
Let's go to SIA.
Google just seems to be carrying the momentum from 20 minutes ago when the news came in that it's turning to Samsung for AI chips. Now their capacity is tightening. Just seems to be bleeding on that. There's nothing else I'm seeing in the market at the moment.
It's working now. Okay. So this is now correct because I'm no longer in the, thank you very much, Randy. I'm no longer in the SMCI trade, but under VWAP on SLV. This is not 58. So it didn't get up to the high. So this is just a shot under VWAP. I'm gonna try to get 40 shares and then just barely give it over the 50 level for the next opportunity over there. But this is crazy. And Jay, since PDT left, there have been more halts. Yeah, you're right about that. But it's because, oh man, so okay, well, 1 for 3 because I got into silver at VWAP and it promptly broke. So it was under VWAP and it just broke the prior candle. So I'm gonna wait at 58. You're right, but it's not because of the PDT rule. It's because the PDT rule is maybe contributing to more of these low float names running. And if low float names run, they don't have as much liquidity, even though there's tons of volume on them, and they make a 10% move, and then you get halts all over the place because the float's 500,000 on EDHL. By the way, the tap is $13. That's down here. It's indicating it's halted down, indicating an open lower, which doesn't have to be true. It should open in 5 minutes or so. Just because it's tapping 13 doesn't mean it actually opens 13.
All right, so we're finally starting to go now. So let's, celebrate it. So far, so good. Thanks, Randy, for the espresso. Good. He wound up getting you one as well. That's good. Yeah. I didn't know if he heard you. All right, so yeah, man, there it is. We're now almost $1 in, and we only have one trade on today. It's only been Nvidia. We've been talking about it. I like the stock. It's the #1 trade idea on here. I'm trying to stick with kind of the plan here one more time today, so we'll watch out to see what happens. We just got some out at 202.25s there for 75 cents, and it doesn't. The amount of money that, $1 on a trade, that's just for fun. I mean, you have to pick and choose the levels that you get in and out at. So I have another one here at 202.50. That was sort of that stop area and where we started the little trade. We're much longer down here. Obviously, you can see where the average price is. So let's now wait to see what winds up happening. Hopefully, we can retake 50s. That's where I'm sitting to get out of 20% of what we have left. Basically, on this position, I still have about 70%. So we're still trying. There, go. Oh, we just got missed again, but we're going to wait for 50. We're at 50 even. Hopefully that hits. There it is. Yes, sir. There's $1 right there on Nvidia to start the day, man. We're doing this all the time. And we just got another huge fill. We just got 202.80s right there. So yeah, nice fill on Nvidia. And yeah, man, we are now cruising here on this trade. So far, so good. Let's just see what winds up happening now as it's Nvidia's world, hopefully, and I'm just living in it. Let's wait to see where we go. But Nvidia upside, 203 would be real nice if we can get that top of the day. EDHL, has it opened back up yet? Good question, Sean, as I talk to myself. No, it has not. No. Double halts right there off the open.
1 minute.
We'll wait, yeah, 1 more minute left for EDHL. S. Looks like that's another halting name that just happened. Right at the open, 9:45. Sorry, S. halted. Now it's starting to go back up there to the upside.
All of them just went ham. Sidu,
oh damn
Fly.
It. Yeah, well we don't have that.
All just broke the highs.
Oh my God.
The volume on Fly sucked. NASA's up 7%. The volume on Fly wasn't that great in the pre-market.
Boom.
It was one that I liked, but whatever. It doesn't really even hold 35.5 until like 2 minutes ago. And look at the candles. It's like a $1 candle with not much liquidity. 15-cent spread at times on Fly.
Oh, boy.
That might not be the one. Intel's now at $118.
Yeah, good.
That stock is insane. Intel, AMD, Nvidia, they're all blasting higher.
The thing is, you had the one trade, right? That one trade can make your day, and that's
exactly
what it's about, right? So,
I'm still considering shorting SPCI though.
That's why I honestly, this is why when we talk about it in the morning time, I'm trying to put on, basically an amount of shares that I'm comfortable with in order to make our days. So we've just made our day right there on Nvidia. So, it was sitting up here. I was like, come on, Nvidia, gotta do something. And then here, I have a button for that. And then it did something. So I always say it just joking roundly, but traders got to trade and put on positions. You don't have to cash as a position if there's nothing setting up. But for me, I liked Nvidia down there. It looked like there's some decent support. So yeah, man, we will, Barry Horowitz, pat ourselves on the back for this trade because there it is, man. Daily goal met. If this was tomorrow, I may stop and then wait for SpaceX. But for here today, we'll keep on going because we don't have any IPOs to worry about. All right, NASA. This was a name that made the sticky note for the very first time today. I had the long there at $32. Obviously, $31.75 comes into play right there. We wrote that one down between $31.75 to $32. The thing is, I didn't want to take it right off the open, but should have. So there it goes. Huge move up there for NASA. Nicely played there to the upside for anybody that did wind up taking that. And then as the NASDAQ, as we've just sort of been talking, is now breaking through pre-market highs right there, we get right back into sort of where the pre-market's up here, but I just meant sort of what we were dealing with after PPI. You get right back, and how many times do we have to talk about it, especially on this show, where it's just gonna come right back to where it was pre-number, and then we can decide. So right now, maybe it's a short in the NASDAQ. We come right back, right up into this level. So we still have a little bit less than half now on this Nvidia trade. So let's lighten up a little bit there on Nvidia as it is pulling back down. We don't want to lose everything you made on the trade. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm done my day and then give it all back. So we're going to make sure that we get out in a bunch of outs up here. Again, right at that pre-market top. So that's kind of stuff you want to look at as Intel's even pulling back now. And then I'll throw over to you. I just want to see if this did wind up opening back up. Not yet for EDHL.
Yeah. There've been also, in addition to more halts, there've been more 10-minute halts.
Right.
I guess. And remember, if it's not 5 minutes and you end up in a 10-minute volatility halt, that has to do with liquidity. They hold it because they don't have enough liquidity for an orderly open. At least that's the reason they're supposed to hold it. And if it's longer than 10 minutes, it's the same reason again, unfortunately. So you're just going to see more and more of this. We've been seeing more and more of this. I don't know how long it's going to persist, but yeah, 10-minute halt. If it's longer than that, it becomes a bit indefinite. It should be 15 or 20, but we've seen 30. I think there was something that was halted for almost an hour this week. You could see that. All right, so NASDAQ is pressing higher, but I'm looking to get back into the short SMCI. Probably gave it up too early at VWAP, but it's back at the volume-weighted average price. Trying to confirm this lower high with a nice little red candle. So if this one can do what I want it to, which would be confirm some weakness, I want to jump short, give it to the candle wick. Right now the buying is a little bit too intense, so I might not jump into that one. This Firefly, man, Fly is gone. All these space stocks are gone.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, this one still has way too big of a spread. I just don't think this one's a lot tradable. The spread's way too big. Relative to, it's got a bigger spread than a $94 ASTS, which is crazy. So even if these dip back in, I'd probably pivot to something else to try to join. But I'm looking at SMCI short. It's just a matter of when I'm getting in. It's either here at VWAP or I'm going to wait for resistance at the $30 level. So we'll let it do. We're going to let it decide. It'll decide what the next trade is. If it's weak here, I pop in short VWAP, or not, I'm waiting till 30. I think patience is the name of the game. When it comes to trying to short into the market, which is now 1.3% up. So we had double barrel somewhat bad news, and once again, you either make the high or the low on the 830 number. It was the low today.
Okay, I was still waiting for this EDHL to open up. It doesn't look like that's going to be happening. We did get some Nvidia out again at 75 there. So now I have less than a third left. So about 30% left on this trade, and we'll wait to see what's going on. We talked about what was, getting hit today early, and it looks like it's trying to bounce now. We got Google bouncing off 350, so that low was 348. A trend change level right here, 351.50. We'll see. Okay, here it goes now. We'll see if it can try to break through there as we'll look at it on a longer time frame for the 5-minute chart on Google. Yeah, it's looking looking pretty good, trying to take out VWAP. Sorry, the 25 period moving average. There it is, 351 and change. Trying to get back upside right there for Google. Lots of dropout zones there at 355. Pre-market levels does not hold, and you get a crank of $7 right there down to the downside. The other name that was questionable was Amazon early, as we looked at that one, and we didn't see, you know, too much action in that other than downside, and now you're getting the bounce right back. So I'm not sure why a lot of these names flushed. We even looked at Microsoft early as well. That had flushed down. You had mentioned 388 for Microsoft. That's back to 392. So there is some strength definitely back in the space overall right now as we continue to look for opportunities to get long, and things have to hit levels for me like VWAPs or something. Palantir again went down to 127, and now that one's all the way back upside again as well into 130.50, right into pre-market levels. A lot of these names, Nvidia's, are all sort of at these pre-market levels right now that we need to have some interest in, possibly see if we break, because if we don't, then watch out for the short, because there goes the NASDAQ easily now taking out some of those levels, right? And there goes Nvidia. Nvidia's now at $1.80 in the money.
Days.
Yeah, we start to go higher and higher and higher now. Would love to see a 2% day back in the market. It feels like that, right? So let's just hold on to Nvidia now. It's a big, big trade right here on NVDA, but I can see where we are. So I'm gonna take out one more piece, and now, if we get this fill at 11s, which we just got, we can wait. That's the pre-market high. So far, so good. It's the only name like that I'm in on that we wrote down here. It's Nvidia. We wrote down Intel. Neil had that. We have NASA and IBIT, but IBIT's not really doing a whole heck of a lot. This is the big one, man. $1.70 now in the money here for Nvidia, and I'm glad we sort of stuck with it. Let's just wait to see what the next trade is. EDHL just opened up, I guess. EDHL, I just saw it there, and it halted again.
That one's not going to stay open. There's another one that's actually
45
trading.
million shares, though. Yeah, what is
GLXG, which there's never a need to spam the chat. Galaxy something, whatever. It doesn't really matter the name of these companies. If we're being honest, does it really make a difference? Just hit 420. This is actually trading without halts. Probably gives you much more opportunity for those that don't want to be trapped from a halt to halt, but it goes right into pre-market highs and then does a reverse. The way this NASDAQ is going, SMCI is the dog. There's no question about it. Like, look at the NASDAQ. 29, up 1.5%, and you're putting in a lower high here on SMCI. So I know this is the right spot. If it doesn't give me what I want at 30, then I'll just wait for it to break. I could go that uptrend, or I could, not gonna take it at VWAP. I don't want to take it at the volume weighted average price. I'll give it a shot breaking this trend in here and just give it to the local high. But if it breaks 29, I'll jump in it that way. I think it's at least for now relatively. I know it's putting in higher lows, but let's be real. It's not making a fresh high when the market's making a fresh high, which at least gives it another chance. Oh no, I might stop at the wrong penny, so I just got in and out flat. There we go. We'll jump back in. And instead of throwing the stop at 28.80, it needs to be at 29. Do that at least once a day. So yeah, short back again in SMCI. This just, for whatever, well, I shouldn't say for whatever reason, we know why SMCI is weak. It's the same reason Oracle was down. You can't say that you're raising money and not get punked. Speaking of which, Oracle back into 180. So good look for Oracle off of the lows, but I think it's the market dragging it up more than anything else. The only new position is short in SMCI. We'll take VWAP. There is still this trend to contend with, so I'll get another out here in the 20s if I can. And if it breaks the trend, then I want to hold to the LOD. Intel's still at 118 and doing a very good job of holding up. Oh, and we should have been looking at DRAM as well.
Yeah, we talked about
DRAM, you can probably forget about the dip buy at 55 to 56. Obviously, it just broke out along with everything else. So good day for the market, good day for memory. Close to yesterday's highs if you're interested in taking some profit on a Micron or something if you're long.
All right, we did take a little bit more out there on NVIDIA as it broke through 203, but I'm at 203.50, I'm at 203.75, and then we'll just wait to see. And we want to try to hold, like I said, we still got a decent amount, well, not a decent, we got about a third left of this trade, just a little bit under it now, trying to get into like about a quarter left to see if this one wants to keep on going right now. Taiwan Semi, we just hear, is now at, well, not we hear it, but I saw it there in the chat. TSM now at the high of the days as well. Look at that name starting to go. We did hear something about Samsung. We talked, and Google with their capacity. So Taiwan Semi, I mean, if some of these names are at capacity right now, no surprise that this is trying to work itself out as well here. Taiwan Semi upside there as the fabs are going. I mean, we saw Intel going today beautifully actually to the upside, and you know, there joins Taiwan Semi. ARM, probably another one of those
ARM's
names.
having a good day.
Yeah, ARM up 8%, so good for that one. Oh, did I get that on? Yes, I did. Look at that, man. 203.50 right there. Yeah, we're happy.
For some reason,
Happy, joy.
Marvell's holding at 5.
That's what I was going to look at, Marvell.
It's holding at 5%, basically. It's like the,
okay.
like it's going.
So it needs to break still. That
yeah, but that still needs, it still needs to break out. Like I look at ARM, these are not related. There's been a weird thing every now and then when they're strong. ARM and Marvell have been going together. Maybe it's because SoftBank likes buying them both. I don't know. You don't really know. But ARM, this 8% on ARM, I saw someone say this in the chat, this is now closed in a bit of a gap as well at 335. So it's at a pretty key level as the NASDAQ turns off this 29,000 for sure. I want to thank you for the super chat. Howard the Usher, actual Usher? We knew an Usher.
We did.
No, like not an Usher, like a dude whose name was Usher on the trading floor. Snagged BBAI at 397. Thanks, Sean. I think I'll keep it.
Don't thank me
I haven't looked to see where BBAI is, but I'm going to guess
yet.
it's in the 4s. Otherwise, we wouldn't be saying that.
I don't know.
Well, it just broke. It's over. Yeah, it broke 4.
Wherever it goes, man. I mean, I think that is a longer term play. So good luck on that one, and I obviously hope that everyone prints on BBAI.
HOD right now.
Okay, that I own, but I don't own it that heavy, guys. That's just a shot play, and we've talked about that over and over again. So yeah, good luck on that one, and I do think there are some good reasons to be a BBAI fan. If we've talked about that a couple times, Big Bear AI. Also, not necessarily a bio candidate. We haven't seen too many buyouts happening in the tech space. A lot of them right now, you know, health and biofarms and all that kind of stuff. So if that starts picking up a little bit of steam, we could see something happening with BBAI. They do have an approved LLM that's working with the government, United States government. So check that one out as well if you're interested in Big Bear AI. Yeah, thank you. Again, another super chat coming through right there. I want to say thank you to that one as well. And yeah, and congratulations to you, J-I-N, Jin there. You know, yeah, nice one. Thanks. You know,
Jin, Hall of Fame in the 106 in Park.
Yes.
It was a Rhapsody.
It wasn't called Rhapsody, though. It was called something else. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, good look on that, right? And I mean, look, all we can do is give the ideas. You guys have to, you know, use the shares and actually put your money to work as we sit here on a prop floor. And all I can tell you is it is the #1 idea here on the sticky note. So instead of everybody just, you know, every day giving these super chats, just go over here. Not instead, keep giving them, but just give it a like. And there it is right there. Nvidia long, Intel long, NASA long, IBIT long. The only one that's not really moving right here is IBIT yet. And I'm giving the price targets and everything. I mean, this was 202. So the fact that it dropped down a little bit, I didn't mind that trade back in for Nvidia, so we did support it. And our out was always 201. Right, and so that's factual. We talked about that. My stop order is still in at that price. So, you know, giving it 50 cents to make $1.50 sounds like 3-to-1 to me. So we'll take that pretty much every single day on these names. But it is struggling a little bit up here, and I don't want to necessarily dump it at these levels, but I will take another piece right there at 80. It's just got to take the profit where it lies. We've seen this market go just be very, very volatile. So my next offer is not until 203.75, but you never know like what that next sort of arm to drop is, and I don't mean that for arm or leg, but you never know what's going to happen with USO, what Donald Trump's going to say. Any of these major players are now in the building, and you never know what's coming through. So let's go over to Sia and with an update from 10 o'clock.
Thank you. Let's take a look at the 3 major averages before we dive in. The market is looking pretty green today. Looks like it's made good reversals from yesterday's red on the market. The SPY currently up 0.61%. The triple Q is up by a little over 1%, and the Dow is currently up almost 1%. We had these numbers come in today. We had the PPI month over month come in, same as the previous, standing at 1.1%, where the forecast was at 0.7. Core producer prices, excluding food and energy, coming in at 0.4. Previous was at 0.7, forecasted at 0.3. Initial jobless claims currently standing at 229,000. a little bit over the previous number of 225,000. Well, let's dive into our headlines for today. We're going to talk about Google, that little downtick, not a little, the downtick that we saw on Google currently has turned to Samsung for its future AI chip as the capacity is tightening at the moment. It's considering Samsung for a key component for its Icefish AI chip. Samsung may also boost its advanced chip making standing with this Google deal, and Google is also in talks with Samsung to manufacture certain parts of next generation Tensor processing unit with Samsung's 2 nanometer tech. Next ticker, let's go to Dash. Also, keep a look out for this. DoorDash has launched a new chatbot that's going to let users order food and groceries to make reservations with photos and certain prompts instead of just typing in the name. It's in the middle of the massive investment cycle that includes revamping its tech platform after a certain string of acquisitions. Their financial chief, Ravi Inukonda, has also said to investors during the last quarter's earnings call, which I was sitting on, that DoorDash is making progress on the tech stack overhaul and also plans out to carry most of its spending by this year. Last but not least, I'm missing a data for this, but Oracle, yes, has beat earnings. It's kept its fiscal year revenue guidance intact while raising its profit forecast. Company has also beat earnings on revenue for the fiscal fourth quarter. Oracle has said it plans to raise an additional $20 billion in equity and debt on top of what's already been announced. And as a reaction to this, Oracle did slide 10% in extended trading after the plans to raise more money to finance its AI build-out. The earnings per share currently stand at $2.03 adjusted versus $1.96 expected, and revenue coming in at $19.18 billion versus $19.10 billion. And that's all for you. Sending it to Neil.
Once you'll fail again.
So what up, everybody? Thank you. See, we got an opportunity for everyone that's never been done before. Your broker's not giving it to you. It's from June 8th to the 25th. Trade the Pool, giving first-time users a second chance opportunity. If this is your first time joining Trade the Pool and you don't pass the evaluation, they will give you another account completely free. That's right, a real second chance to come back stronger and prove yourself. This is a one-time exclusive promotion available only during the Trading World Championship event. Ooh. Once it is gone, it's gone, gone, gone. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you on the screen and join Trade the Pool today. Take advantage of this exclusive second chance offer before it disappears. And you might notice when they have trader battles in this World Cup, which starts today. Mexico,
Yep.
3 versus, I don't remember who they play. Mexico's playing at 3, I don't remember who they're playing. Canada plays tomorrow. Maybe the wrong decision to again get out under VWAP, but I did say on SMCI, it's still putting lower highs, but it put in this higher low, and then that trend didn't break down. It actually broke up. So I will re-enter under VWAP if I get a chance. The market is back to the highs, man. And if the market's back at the highs and I got something which is looking still weak and I like it short, then I'm going to continue to look for that short trade. Quickly, I just saw this on one of my charts. Looks like Fly, I don't know what NASA's doing, but Fly just put in a topping tail candle at 38 and is starting to pull back in to 36. 36.5 is where VWAP is, but SMCI, I think we stick with this one. It's looking relatively weak. I just need it closing under the trend line. If it does, I jump back into the south side of the trade. But the buying opportunity on the dip could at least be coming in on those space stocks. If Fly's any indication, I'm just making the assumption out loud that the others are pulling back when Fly is. Maybe not. NASA's only a small pullback. Fly's less liquid, so I figure when they pull back, Fly probably is a little bit more violent.
I did sell a little bit more of Nvidia up there at 203.50. It just doesn't look like it wants to go. Unfortunately, we're still waiting. But now we've got 20% left. So we've just been getting out more and more up near those levels, and we'll take another shot there if it does come back up into that. And look, man, I mean, yeah, the space stocks are starting to go ahead of tomorrow's big day. We'll see. NASA's supposed to they want to put about 10% of SpaceX into their portfolio. So tomorrow, this name could, depending on how that winds up going, nice upside as well. Jeff Bezos apparently raising more money for, obviously it's not Anthropic, it was something else there. Where was it there? I'll get that story. Something else went out at a $40 billion valuation for Bezos. All right, NASA upside, we just talked a little bit about that. EDHL, Oops, EDHL has halted again. Let's see which way this time. Another down halt, it looks like here for EDHL. It's just been a halter all morning long. You know, was a good stock there. We've seen, you know, that move go from $3 all the way to $17 today. We did talk about that earlier on in the pre-market. Yesterday's runner was DSY. So this one down today 50%. Why it hasn't halted yet, I guess, no real violent moves. The move started happened there in the pre-market, so that's another look at DSY today. And then another halt name that we've talked about over the last couple of days is SDOT, and that, again, you know, and Neil and I indicated this yesterday, man. It's like a lot of these names want to go early, and then it's late has been a trouble spot for many of these names. So there goes SDOT to the downside. Look, man, the NASDAQ's on fire, and people were like, man, calm down, NASDAQ. Well, here's a general look at the overall market right now. You are getting, I mean, there's Intel up 10% right now. So, wow, like, okay. Broadcom's up, Micron's up, Marvell's up 6% as well. It's this side right here, man. It's the Google, the Microsofts, and the Metas that are getting hit on data center worries because of the big guy, man. Oracle today down 10% and going SSR. So definitely putting some worries into the space today is Oracle. So Google, you know, just had to raise money. We know Microsoft's in that same space with ChatGPT. We'll see if they can get OpenAI once they IPO. And then again, the data center plays, the cloud plays, a little downside. Amazon was down earlier. I'm not sure what it's doing right now. I don't even see. Oh, Amazon's over here. Amazon's flat. Walmart had a nice little run recently. It's pulling back, or was pulling back yesterday to 118. Today, flat on the day. Nice level for Walmart, back to 120. Home Depot, we got a great housing number a couple days ago. So Home Depot up. Home Depot's actually been performing quite well. And I think that's another space. I mean, I'm into HD. I'm into J&J as that kind of recovery play and money going into different names. But there's Home Depot. It was 2 days ago, I guess. Had that nice bump up, but right into the 50 period again. Home Depot, dividend play, and you know, American company that people like. And yesterday we were joking about SMR. We're 20 minutes away from having Kevin O'Leary, by the way.
Yes.
So he'll come on. And I actually want to ask him to see if he has any love for any of the nuclear plays. So we'll have to wait to see about uranium coming into play. We joked yesterday about SMR getting to $8, and I wasn't joking. I thought today...
No, $7 was what was said.
Yeah, so it almost got... Oh, $7, yeah. So it almost got to $8 today, right there in the pre-market. Got down to 9 and a nice little bump up higher. I still want to get some more long. I haven't bought any SMR in a long time. I think that this is a longer... Oops, where's my daily chart? I think this is a longer-term play for SMR. So.
Yeah, treat it as it is.
Yeah, we'll just wait for it and not worry about that one. And then, you know, we did talk to Randy a little bit earlier today. Rivian, nice bounce level there. He called 1470 yesterday. It did go down to 1470 here. Went down there again today, but now it's right back up to $15. RIVN. Trying to see if that wants to do anything. And then tomorrow's a big day for someone called Elon Musk, and
don't own.
You know, 42% or whatever of the equity he'll own there on SpaceX. 85% of the voting rights. So. That's all good. So SpaceX isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And Tesla, you know, again, when you have all that voting power, and we know what Tesla shareholders, who they'll vote for and who they'll vote with Elon. So if Tesla ever has a chance of getting wrapped up with SpaceX, with XAI, and making one big symbol named X, then I think that happens sooner rather than later. So Tesla does have some get up to it over the last couple of days.
Did you say X or X?
Yeah, not DX yet. Not DX yet.
What? I'm just saying.
DX might be tomorrow.
They do that to the market.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. But
I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Yeah, then B.
Market at the highs. Everything you're looking at is at the highs. Oh, I meant to also hit this one. No, fail. Meta's down 1.5% and at the lows. Why do you have to stink, Meta? It doesn't have to be this way. It just is. Unfortunately, someone asked this more, I forget which, it was yesterday, maybe it was yesterday. I just simply said, I don't care what it does at this point until it sees the March low if it can't retake the $600 level. Flat bottom broke. They just don't like it. Why does this keep changing? My keyboard thing just keeps changing to like some Canadian thing on Windows. I gotta be able to turn that off. No, but Meta, they just can't figure it out, and ultimately they're getting punished heavily. You saw Microsoft and the IGV name, but Meta, they're just under pressure. Again, the only thing I'm in, remember that trend break on SMCI through the low of the day. So sometimes you get out too early, but the opportunity to get back in, it's still putting in lower highs. Stop is at the break of, I guess, this trend. So you got like a wedge that broke down. If the wedge breaks up, I'm out, and we're going to the desk with Sia. Because it's
A look at that uptick in USO. Keep an eye out. Head of National Security Committee in Iran's parliament, in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's threats against Iran, has said that he will receive a stronger and a more painful response. Again, head of National Security Committee in Iran's parliament in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's threats, saying that he will receive a stronger and a more painful response. USO still on the uptick.
Yeah, USO, and thank you, Sia. USO absolutely is catching a bit of a bid. And once again, like we've seen this so many times where you have like USO just gets to 136, 137 area and then dumps, but it's catching the bid again. So if we do get through VWAP and maybe charge back into the highs, keep that in mind. If you're trading oil futures, or maybe you're just trading something very sensitive to oil futures, you're gonna wanna look at that level. It could be a turnaround spot for longs if it's not talking about oil, or you could just be short oil in that moment. 18 minutes until we get nat gas inventories. Boyle will move on that if that's what you're trading. And I would be thinking about, look, if USO breaks out, I'd be thinking about Battle here. Battle did this yesterday. 170 to 290. I know Sharif, I'm pretty sure Sharif was on it. Some people in the midday show were talking about this. If we see another USO breakout, this one can get going. It's gonna need oil to go, but it absolutely can get going for sure. So if you're looking at some of the market-related names, this NASDAQ is putting a bit of a pullback, and getting close to that LOD here on SMCI. But the other thing I want to consider, because they're in a short, is if the Qs bounce off VWAP at 01s, that's resistance to support. So if that happens, I want to be ready that if I haven't gotten filled at the low of the day, I'm chuckling because if you include yesterday, SMCI pulling back $1.50 from the highs today looks like nothing because it dropped $7 yesterday. You have to zoom in to make it look like a normal stock. So if we bounce off VWAP here, I want to make sure I'm getting out on that VWAP bounce. Otherwise, we look for that LOD here on SMCI, down another 1.5%. But man, Meta is just $560. Yeah.
Is that what it's at?
Yes.
Jeez, okay.
It really does want this March low, right? You've just got to understand what's in favor and what's out of favor. Sometimes that's all it is. I also just realized my backgrounds in Windows it's like rotating. I got to turn that feature off because it's kind of annoying.
Oh, mine's just white background, because just in case like I go like this. So you see white background. So it looks pretty good there. I'm smart like that. All right, how smart are we? You're smart enough to get out of 20% or only have 20% left of Nvidia. So that was probably a good idea. We're gonna reload this and just give this one right now to 25 cents lower, 201.75. If we break below 201.75, we're now, look what we're doing. We're now below everything. You know, so we don't need to be holding on to this bid. We'll take the long because it fell back into the 200, it fell back into VWAP. So this is part of the plan. We got to test, we got to trust sometimes the process. So we'll wait to see if there is a process that makes any sense. Let's get back out on the upside here. We'll get some out at 50s if it happens, and just try to go 2-to-1 on this one. Our out is 201.75s. So right there, well, you know what? Let's go 1-to-1 on a little bit of this anyways, on 15% if we can get 202.25, we'll take some of that. But for right now, yeah, a little bit of trouble here for NVDA as it's been really pulling back in, as has the market, as Neil just mentioned there, into VWAP. So if you I'm gonna let NVIDIA settle here, because if the TQs hold, so should NVIDIA, so I think that's fine. But this is also right now, almost looks identical, pretty much, actually. Now they look at the symbols, it looks almost exactly the same. We touched near the highs and we came right back in, right into some key levels again. So the futures and NVIDIA kind of mocking each other back and forth right now. So we're gonna just wait to see if one reacts a little bit better than the other, and then trade it accordingly on that one as we wait to get a print there on NVIDIA. All right, so that's that. Coinbase is another one that's, I know it's hitting some of my scanners here. Why is that? right now for Coin. Oh, just broke through VWAP. So, okay. So Coinbase on the pullback. I mean, a lot of these names are going to look similar as we just mentioned there. Again, we do get a little bit of a trade there. So we'll just blow up a little bit there on Nvidia as we get a little bit out at the 1-to-1 marker, but that's been an averaged in price. So we're hoping for a little bit higher than where we are right now in order for this to be worth talking about. We are now 15 minutes away. We will have Kevin O'Leary on. We're going to talk to him about, you know, various investments that he's made into the data space as well, data centers. He was talking last time about some properties here in Canada that he was looking at. IREN up 3% there today. You're talking about some power supplies here. Nice move to the upside as we look for gigawatts and whatnot. IREN making that move. Okay,
one of them specifically.
Yeah, and here comes, there it is. So right now, not a great look here as Nvidia is dipping down. And there it is. There's a stop out for Nvidia. So we will, look, we still got it. We still got our goal there on Nvidia. We did pull back some and gave some back there on Nvidia, but worth the try for me anyways at that level. And I thought it was good down into VWAP. We did have a chance, but look at this market. There's the bleed a little bit here. So we were pretty much cruising. Now we're going to the downside. This is why we talk every day about making sure to capture the profits when the profits are there, because we've seen dramatic moves, man. We've seen the NASDAQ be down 4% and retrace all the way back to almost even. You know, like those are the moves that you don't generally see in what I would call a healthy market. I don't think it's overly healthy right now, meaning that there's too much push and pull throughout the day to actually give you a pretty clean trend. And I think there's a lot of stocks that will show that. We can go over those when we get back from SIA at the big desk.
Let's take a look at the small cap sector. The IWM currently up by 1%. We're going to take a look at a couple individual tickers I've picked out for you today. PPCB. Propanc Biopharma has authorized a 5 million share repurchase program. They're currently up almost 17% on the day. NAVN, Navin, that's up almost 11%. They're using an artificial intelligence to grow 4 times faster than the rest of the corporate travel industry. It's a workplace travel software company that has a proprietary AI assistant, which is now handling almost 56% of all their customer inquiries. And finally, we have VRA, Vera Bradley, which is an American accessories brand, best known for its vibrant handbags and cotton travel bags. They're up almost 8% on the day. Their first quarter revenue has grown 7.8% year over year, with gross margin up 430 basis points to 51.8%. Operating losses also improved around 76%. That's all for your small cap.
Thanks, Sia. It's like we're not holding gains in this market. Like even just now, like I showed you guys, was looking at VWAP on the NQ. So like VWAP just got taken out to the downside. When it looked like it was holding, I just put a trailing stop in SMCI because the market was at VWAP. So I'm out of that one and the market just continues to bleed. Are we not done raising money for SpaceX? Y'all didn't get... They canceled everything last night, right? Like you had to get your orders in already, so why are people still selling would be the real question. It could be, remember Oracle. Remember the news this morning? Remember Oracle still raising money and scaring them you-know-what out of everybody? Now they're down 13 or 12.5%. We remember the president sort of, literally taking aim at Iran and causing a big spike in USO, and then of course PPI. So I guess that's why we're not holding on to gains. It's as simple as that, but that's where we're at. So I'm gonna look for something to the south side. Again, if it's a pop to VWAP on SMCI, then it'll be that. The losing trade for me was under VWAP here on silver. It gets to 58 and reverts. That's when I was trading SMCI, so I would have missed that opportunity, but I can only look at one thing at a time. If it holds under VWAP again, I might take a secondary shot here at SLV. We haven't even talked about crypto or Bitcoin. I just realized my Bitcoin chart is not, where's my Bitcoin thing? Usually I have like the number and I can tell you what it's trading at, but for some reason that's closed. But we're back down into the lows on IBIT as well. So crypto not looking very, very healthy at all. So I guess if you're looking for longs, you're back to looking at small cappers, everybody.
Yeah, that's for sure right now. All right, so we just, right now I want to thank Ramin for putting this together. I want to thank Sharif, and I want to thank Adara yesterday. We did just put this out. I just retweeted it. Go find it right now on Trader TV, Sean. If you're looking for information about the IPO tomorrow, it's right here, right now. Click on that link. It'll take you right over to YouTube, and you'll be able to view it. And this is what it looks like. There's a lot of editing that was put into this. So we want to say thank you. And yesterday was Sharif and Adara going back and forth, and some fun Elon Musk references early, some cool graphics and whatnot. So we want to thank Ramin for that one. Go find it over on Instagram, on X. It's there right now. It's your SpaceX. All you need to know about tomorrow's SpaceX launch into the market here with their IPO coming tomorrow. We have no idea. A lot of people asking us when it's going to be, where it's going to be. Well, it's going to be on the NASDAQ, so we know that one. So, and the symbol will be SPCX. This will be not the last time I call this up, because we'll call it up tomorrow, but SPCX tomorrow will have orders in here, and the order book will be flying around, and we're going to tell you where this is going to look at. We're going to talk about the tap, but that's tomorrow. SPCX, that's the symbol. Now y'all know, get that video into your library right now and go find out everything you need to know about SpaceX. Are you investing in the IPO? Are you going to be trading it off the open? There's some different talks about it right around here, man. I saw Obi before. He's, thinking about what if they rug pull? Do you actually want to put some, risk into that opening print? There's a very strong possibility. Neil and I talked about that. Like, what if you put all of your risk into that opening print? It does pull down a couple bucks early, then takes off once it finds some base or demand. Will you have enough buying power left? Will you have enough risk left to deal with those things? We shall find out tomorrow live here at Trader TV. And just before we go back over the desk, I'm waiting for 1350 here on Intel. So yeah, we're obviously ready to rock and roll, man. Really chilled out here today. Great game last night at the Garden. Great game today tonight at High Park. Tonight again, another 8 to 10 o'clock game there tonight, where it's your High Park Red Sox versus the High Park Athletics. So we'll see who winds up winning.
You know what I'll be doing
off
at
of
that
a tie.
I'm going to be eating ice cream with strawberries on it, because my daughter's school has their strawberry social. It's such a great event. Basically, they just show off their classrooms, you talk to some parents, and we chill eating ice cream while the kids play around like animals. And it's just a lot of fun, and all the parents love it. Thank you to their school for doing that. Let's go to the desk. We've got Sia at the desk.
Yeah, just a really quick update here. Keep an eye out for Amazon. Jeff Bezos saying that I think we're going to have labor scarcity because of AI. Amazon on lookout, just Jeff Bezos making comments here saying that he thinks they're going to have labor scarcity because of AI. Sending it back to you.
Thank you very much there, Sia. And as we mentioned, we're going to have Kevin O'Leary coming on very, very shortly. We'll talk. Well, I mean, heck, everyone's going to want to talk about SpaceX. We're going to talk a little bit about the IPO, certainly. Not just SpaceX. I mean, if we're being real, we're talking about SpaceX because it's tomorrow, but OpenAI is filed as well. We're going to get them, I think we're looking at September, and then by the end of the year, also Anthropic. OpenAI and that windfall can't come soon enough for Microsoft. Trying to bounce off lows, 2% down. I know I was harping on Meta, but Microsoft is also down. Meta... Actually, Microsoft is down basically the same as Meta, is what it is. The only reason I was focusing on Meta is because I haven't bought Microsoft shares in a very, very long. I can't remember the last time I bought Microsoft shares, but I have bought Meta shares this year. That's the only reason I harped on them. But both those names under pressure, while the NASDAQ flies higher, and the reason I said flies higher is the space stocks are continuing to go. So there was a bounce on Fly at VWAP. It still has too big of a spread, and that thing doesn't trade the way you would like. It could one nice 1 cent normal spread on the ETF. NASA, if you look at like an ASTS or Rocket Lab, I think they look a little bit more reasonable. Like, it's in terms of liquidity. So I'm going to wait for my chance on SMCI to rejoin the short, or if we can get a VWAP play on one of these space names, whichever one is closer to VWAP. Rocket Lab broke VWAP, it's only gaining it here. UFO doesn't trade enough shares either.
We missed out on that Nvidia dip buy. It goes right into where we bought it last time. We should have done something about it. Wasn't sure. The NASDAQ had broken a little bit lower, but there's Nvidia holding out support down there at 201.50. 5 minutes, we'll have Kevin O'Leary on. We'll talk to him about a bunch of different things, including SpaceX. So get ready to hear his opinion over there. Last couple of days has been a nice little wild ride for Robinhood as well. Robinhood's been going up and down.
Did it bounce off
flat
85?
today? Didn't really do too much off 85 today, but it did get to 86, so close enough to that level. 85, your 200, oops, that's a 200 period moving average right there. 82 is your 50 period moving average in around 81 bucks. So we'll have to watch out for that one for Robinhood, pulling back just a little bit. And why it's going upside, I thought, you do have a little bit of a rebound and maybe a stabilization in crypto. We'll see if that's stable or not down there at 63. It hasn't really moved a whole heck of a lot. And then we've seen a lot of equity trading in names where, if all of a sudden names that are doing 500,000 shares or less are now doing 50 million shares, and we can get a handful of these every day. We do know that a lot of and pardon me if I'm talking about you guys, but there's a lot of degenerates out there that will pick and choose which names to play every single day. It's called day trading. So welcome to the club if you're one of us. And these names have been pretty popular to look at. So all of a sudden now, if you're on a platform like a Robinhood, like Schwab or IBKR, anything like that, you are going to be feeding them more volume, and every time there's a trade executed, they're making a little bit of money on that, even if it's just a small little VIG. At the end of the day, this is what's happening. So EDHL, nice move there. That's what's halting. We do have another one here, UBXG. I'm just gonna keep calling them up because unfortunately our scanner doesn't show the volume, so I don't know how significant some of these moves are. This is just, that's back and forth. And then the other one that had been going sort of off a little bit here, SDOT, that's now open for a minute and not doing a whole heck of a lot of volume either right now is S.
Did you mention this QH?
No, but I see that that's been halting.
Yeah, QH was one that it's up 120%, but if you look at yesterday, right at the close, the stock did 250% in about an hour after the close. Look at what's going on with this at 750. This one could be interesting because if you see all these candles, see these topping tail candles on QH, the second you start holding above 750 or get a solid break over 8, I think it's just like the long is a go. So I'm gonna fire this one up on the side chart here. Let's actually, I know people don't care what these companies do, but I think the better ones have all been like Chinese ADRs. Yeah, so this one, Kuho Limited, there you go. It's a Chinese ADR with a 2.8 million float. So I hate to say it, but that's kind of been what you've been looking for. You almost want it to not be a thing. You don't want it to be laced with actual news today. So if you can break above $8 or just close any candles on a 3-minute for me above 750, I'm gonna fire this one up on a side chart. You're looking, I think you wanna, what's the Gretzky thing? You wanna skate where the puck is headed?
Yeah.
The one that hasn't gone yet, but is showing you some signs, if it can show a little breakout, jump into this and maybe it does that, that'll halt level and you can get to it. Like CPOP. CPOP is the perfect example yesterday. CPOP was just kind of cruising along, it's okay, it's moving. And then all of a sudden you get this late breakout in the middle of the day and it went 2.5 times. So I think that's what's showing up here potentially on QH. So we have that one on the side chart, still looking for that SMCI re-entry short, which again, it comes back into VWAP. The last time it put in a lower high, but it was above the volume weighted average price. Another lower high this time would be at VWAP. So I've traded 3 times short. At some point, the market could decide this is a long. It just hasn't happened yet for me.
All right, I just want to say if Nvidia does wind up coming back into some of those levels, we will take another long. A big shout out to my parents who are watching right now. So I hope you guys are doing well there. Stay out of the sun today. It's a pretty warm day out there.
True.
My mother always tells me that she's out there picking weeds all the time. And so I was like, okay, well, just watch out for the back there. Make sure you're sitting down and don't, drink lots of water during these kind of times.
Back still hurts, George.
Yeah.
Remember that old TV in your basement?
Still remembers moving that TV back on where we used to live there. Complaining about that.
So. No, I'm not complaining.
No, I'm just joking around there. What's up, Randy? Hope you're doing well.
Ate enough of your food.
So we'll just keep on going. So shout out to my parents there. Thanks for watching. We are moments away. We will have Kevin O'Leary coming on very, very soon, talking about a few different things, BitZero. And it's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about crypto game. We're going to talk about SpaceX tomorrow and some ideas that perhaps are floating around in that world. And I want to talk to him maybe even about his good friend Timothy Chalamet there yesterday at the Knicks game. I saw it was basically Celebrity Row there, and apparently they couldn't even clear the place out. It was like a half hour after the game, everybody was just on the court celebrating. It's great to see.
Wait till they win it.
That's going to be absolutely insane.
I can't even. I can't even imagine what that's going to be like.
All right,
City is going to go crazy.
From Marty Supreme to Sia Supreme, what you got for us?
Yeah, again, Jeff Bezos just speaking, Amazon on the uptake, saying he may buy parts of companies that can benefit from tech. Amazon on the uptake, keep an eye out.
We're just saying, like, what if you were a police officer that night? And what if they win in Game 6? I mean, Game 6 will be in New York.
I have genuine sympathy for any New York City police after they win.
And then plus they have the World Cup there as well. Like, it's going to be...
do your job and be safe, man, 'cause it's going to be stupid.
It's going to be wild there.
Because what do you do? Like, it's all good nature, but people are going to be vandalizing.
Of course, man. I mean, people were beating up Spurs fans, you know.
I don't know about that.
So anyways, I just say there will be chaos in the streets there in New York. And a shout out to the Blue Jays. They lost yesterday, but they've been playing a little bit better. See if they get back up to 500 very, very soon. Okay, not too many names again today for me moving around. I mean, it's been a relatively flat day. I mean, sure, the market's up, the market's down, but we started right in here, right where we are. So the NASDAQ, like a roller coaster there, Canada's Wonderland, upside, down, and landing somewhere in the middle. You never want to get stuck on the top. You always want to make that move down and then get back on that roller coaster. So we'll see what winds up happening. And Tesla is a good example of that here as well. Just kind of hovering around, not doing a whole heck of a lot right now, is TSLA. My eyes keep looking up because I'm looking for different names to trade for you guys. Has anything, and that's what trading is all about. You don't need to be in and out of the market like super quick all the time. Depends on your style. You need a setup to happen. And this morning we had NASA down here at 32 bucks. We wrote that down as a trade idea on the sticky note. Go find it on X. But we didn't take it. We should have took it. We were waiting for 31.75. That came in on the PPI number today. Hey, I mean, is inflation? Yesterday Trump tweeted out that he likes inflation. I think he just meant he liked that number. I don't actually think he likes inflation as a hedge towards anything. Inflation. But we do have newly appointed Fed Chair Kevin Warsh with his first appearance in 5 days next week Wednesday. They'll have that meeting, and we expect a hold and then a talk of hopefully, not hopefully, I don't really know what to hope for anymore in this market, but it does look like we'll have one, if not two rate hikes.
I know what to hope for.
By the new year.
I think we're hoping for SpaceX not to rug tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for.
For sure.
Like, it is... That's where my brain is at.
SpaceX going down would be a problem.
SpaceX losing 135. I think if that, because keep in mind one thing that's going to happen tomorrow. If it sees 135, which is the issue price, if it sees that, that's a level that gets defended. And if that level cannot be successfully defended, it can get pretty nasty because that's where everyone wants to go long in front of. So if that happens, I think it could bode poorly for the market. I don't want to say terribly, but poorly for the market, possibly terribly for some of the other space stocks. Like if you're trading Rocket Lab, if you're trading NASA, Fly, Rocket Lab, ASTS, those have all been fine today. But if SpaceX loses 135 and you're trading those, you want to be paying attention because that could get pretty nasty very quickly.
I was going to say, yeah, we're getting ready to have Kevin on, and I know I think he's watching right now, and I just wanted to say to Kevin, you taught us something very, very long time ago. There's one thing that's key, and it's king, and that's cash. So right here, we're hoping to get some investments in some businesses that have some, and he told us to say it this way, cash. Sean, say cash flow. He used to tell us to say. So, hey, he's the actor now.
But also make sure that you have cash he had to make sure you had cash for these IPOs.
This guy's on the big screen. He's on the small screen. He's about to be on YouTube right over here, doing everything. It's Kevin O'Leary, and we're really happy.
Give me a movie role, Kevin. I'll slide in there.
You'll slide in
I'll
there.
be like,
maybe you could be an extra or something.
Guy 3. I'm cool with that. You know when it's like guy number 3 just in the background, maybe clapping at something. I'm down. Like, I'm pretty easy. Sure. You know, or I could just be like shaking my head. What kind of nonsense?
You could be like one of those fans in the background cheering on something. Or you could be
just mucking up a scene by making a stupid face. That's
I think we're all good. Andre, let us know when we are ready to throw over, and we will do that. We've got Brendan locked and loaded here for that one. So
we do have one of these small cappers heading down.
Go ahead.
So the QH is the latest one halting. Look, I get it. They're all over the place. We're going to see more halts ever since PDT rule was gone. We've been seeing a lot of these flying around. So QH, once again, the sellers at $7.50 to $8 are winning. The current theoretical auction price, $6.50, which would be lower. You've also got EDHL. This was another one of these. This has halted probably a dozen times. Still over 50 million shares and up 190%. It's completely insane currently. But yeah, they're continuing to run absolutely fire. They're just not catching breakouts. When you're trading these small cappers, try to remember most of these are Chinese ADRs that the businesses, I don't want to, I'll just leave it at that. They're Chinese ADRs with sometimes questionable fundamentals. So have fun with them if you're trading it, but these are tending to rug almost every single day. And you've got to make sure that you bank your profits. We are now ready for our guest. You know who it is, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. Let's go up to the desk. Talk some cash flow.
Might as well.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, we'll get into the market talk. We'll get into the SpaceX talk. We'll get into the AI talk. But first off, we're going to get into one of Kevin's very own investments currently, and that is BitZero. We're also joined by CEO and founder of BitZero, Mohammed Bakishwan. Recently approved for and started trading on the NASDAQ, AIBZ for BitZero. You can also find it here in Toronto as well. First of all, I'll start with Mohammed. I mean, congratulations, first of all, Mohammed. It's an exciting time and a great event for the company itself. What does the NASDAQ listing change here for BitZero, if anything? Not sure if we can get that audio, guys. Let me know if we have. Let's just go to Kevin, get his opinion here. If we can bring him in, and you guys can work on the audio there. If you can, Andre, just give me a heads up. There's Kevin. I'll throw the same question at you, Mr. Wonderful. Great to have you back, as always. Always very kind to us. Give me your thoughts here as far as the NASDAQ listing for BitZero.
Well, it's obviously important to a much larger capital market. I mean, BitZero is in a very interesting place. It might be serendipitous, it might be calculated, or a combination of both, but when you think about what's occurred in the digital transformation, I don't care whether it's digital payment systems, AI, Bitcoin, tokenization, all of these elements, what's the common denominator of all of them? And certainly a contentious issue in North America, there's one thing: power. And BitZero, and maybe this was luck, but it doesn't matter because it's on their balance sheet now, has some of the lowest power contracts I've ever seen on Earth, because I have been everywhere looking for basically powered land, because it doesn't matter which hyperscaler you are, you're not building out compute capacity without power, and you're looking for power at sub 6 cents a kilowatt hour. But in the last 90 days, and again, BitZero couldn't have planned for this, geographic location is more important than everything now, because all those data centers built in the Middle East got hit with drones. And so there's no drones flying around where BitZero has its assets, and they are primarily in Norway and Finland, where they have sustainable energy in both hydroelectricity generation and nuclear power. But it's a very stable environment. And so the combination of very low-cost energy and long-term contracts and owned land is very attractive in the portfolio when you're building it out for whatever allocation you're doing for the digital. You want to call it AI, you want to call it digital payment systems, stable coins, tokenization. It doesn't matter. They all need power. And that's what BitZero has. And I think now that it's part of NASDAQ, has probably, and I'm speculating as an investor, a lower cost of capital, which is good.
You've mentioned many times, even on this show, the picks and shovels angle, the infrastructure, as you said. When you made this investment first on the BitZero as a company side of things, has AI now changed that thesis in, maybe just talk about the scale at which AI has changed that thesis?
Well, AI now, as you know from all the narrative going on regarding the debates of data centers in the US and the influence of foreign countries with propaganda, all this stuff has blown up in the last few weeks. But, it doesn't matter where you are, the demand for compute, I mean, people are confusing a little bit about AI data centers with just plain compute capacity, because if you're sending an email or saving a spreadsheet, that's going somewhere on some server somewhere. And we don't have enough capacity for it now. And you heard recently the CEO of Anthropic say the Chinese are going to catch up on compute capacity within 6 months if we don't build some more data centers. And so that's the work that I think BitZero is finding itself in such a fortunate position. You got to think of them, in my view, what I think about the company is it's like a diner. It's got a menu. And it's got land, it's got fiber, it's got power, it's got water, it's got permits. There you are, looking at the menu. Any one of the 5 hyperscalers is going to say, well, I want to eat that hot dog. I'll have that sandwich. I want that salad. Because it all boils down to power. So they don't, you know, the great thing about BitZero and the picks and shovels story, for me, at least that's my assumption, is you don't have to worry about which chips and all this stuff. The hyperscaler tenant deals with all that. They have what the hyperscaler must have, power. And so it does, in my portfolio, it's a big part of, you know, the picks and shovels story. And I think you and I talked about this maybe even 18 months ago when BitZero was almost a startup. And that was the thesis then, it's the thesis now. And clearly, from a valuation perspective, it's worked out well and the company's executed, and that's on the executive, you got them there. I mean, I basically say, what do you got that I have to have and is the common denominator for everybody? Power. And
Let's bring in Mohammed here. We have audio resolved. Good to have you, Mohammed, once again. Give us your side of the story here. Congratulations, as I mentioned, first off on the NASDAQ listing. What does it mean for the company here?
Oh, thank you. No, it means a lot. Exactly what Kevin mentioned. Gives us access to one of the largest capital markets in the world. Gives us a wider reach that enables us to grow. I believe like we're kind of getting there where we're supposed to be with our assets. As Kevin said, the commodity we have is the power that we have in our assets. The asset behind me is our Norway asset. It's at a more advanced stage than a lot of assets in Europe and can provide scale for HPC GPU clusters within 2027 as a turnkey solution, which not a lot of assets in Europe can provide, regardless of being also one of the lowest cost power regions in Europe, as well as being already online, and the power is there. It's not power that needs to be developed or anything that is yet in preparation or high voltage stages. Bottlenecks of supply chain have been overcome in terms of high voltage equipment, transformers that other developers are waiting years for. We already have our own installed and running, as well as the ones for the expansion of the 110 megawatts already on a ship on their way to the site. Once that's commissioned, that means we have plug ready 110 megawatts before the year is out this year, which means we can deliver to a hyperscaler 110 megawatts of gross capacity within 2027 as a turnkey solution. Puts us in a really strong position in the market, and also to capture the demand within 2027, which very few, if none, in Europe can meet. And I believe the market's starting to get notice of that. Besides our larger growth platform consisting of Finland and our North Dakota asset. In Finland, we're in a similar position as Norway, not quite as advanced in terms of installations, but we can deliver up to 80 megawatts of compute during 2027 as well. So those are two exciting short-term projects within the next 12 to 18 months that we're looking to deliver to a hyperscale tenant or an IG-backed neo-cloud, as we've been seeing in the market in a very short period of time.
Started trading on the NASDAQ on June 9th. If anybody's looking for it, AIBZ. Mohammed Bakashwan is the founder and CEO of BitZero. We appreciate your time, Mohammed, today. We'll talk a little bit of market. We'll talk a little bit about this IPO coming up with Kevin, specifically. SpaceX, Kevin, I want to jump right into this here. Tomorrow, I mean, this is a different landscape. This is a different market, it feels like, entirely. With, you know, we can maybe group them together. We have two giant AI companies about to come public. We have SpaceX to deal with tomorrow. We've never seen a scenario like this going into an IPO like this. How are you approaching this mentally?
Well, there's some technical issues with it. Let's just talk about the baseline analysis before we get into the vision of this thing. If you actually read the prospectus, what you're buying is a telco. The only cash flow being generated is from Starlink, and the rest is the future. Now, if you're going to bet on the future of any operator, you can't beat Musk because he's delivered on every mandate. You just don't know the timing of it. You know, when he says he's going to do something, it happens, but it's not always on the same time as the original vision. So you have to buy the rest of that valuation at the 137 on the future. But I think there's going to be a fundamental demand that's going to be pretty significant here on an index basis. I know it's not immediately going into the S&P 500, but one of the technical problems I dealt with on this is, you know, I said to the guy that was offering me the allocation, I said, look, let me get this right. It's going into an account, it's a margin account. It's always been a margin account with certain names in it. What happens if the stock goes down? Because they're telling me you can't sell it for 30 days. And I said, well, hold on there. What law is, there's nothing in the prospectus about a hold period of 30 days. He said, no, that's just what we're asking you to do. And I said, well, how can you do that? Because it goes into a margin account, the stock drops for whatever reason, you're going to sell it out on the margin call. Are you telling me there's two rules, one for me where I can't sell it, but you can because you're holding in the margin account? He said, let me get back to you on that. I said, yeah, maybe you should, because I don't think you thought this through. This makes no sense to me at all. And so, you know, it's sort of that issue aside, which apparently by tomorrow morning will be resolved for everybody. If you're going to invest in this space, index. Take whatever you're going to allocate, in my view. Look, I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying here's how I do it, okay? If my allocation for this falls into the whole digital, you know, transformation of the economy, certainly SpaceX is part of that. I'm going to take, let's say, 5% weighting, and I'm going to split it across all three because I have no idea who the winner is going to be. One of these guys is going to emerge as the big performer. Is it going to be Anthropic or it can be somebody else? You don't know. So get some diversification into what you're going to do here. This is a very lofty valuation. As you're well aware, some of the sovereign wealth have passed on their allocation. I'm not surprised. I mean, they have very long-term view. That may signal that they're willing to wait until the stock has a better entry-level point.
As we talked about this morning, early on, $70 billion in retail alone coming into this tomorrow. If you're not, let's say you're not in that to start things off, is there an opportunity in your mind, you know, do we see lower prices 2 weeks, 3 weeks out versus just buying the open print? And I'm phrasing this around the simple fact that there's so much excitement around this. There's so much, as you were alluding to, anticipation around this. Is the opportunity maybe, you know, next month or a month and a half away?
Well, I tell you the answer to that, and it's a very good question, is how do they resolve what I just talked about regarding not selling it for 30 days? Let's make the assumption that the retail houses, which are primarily going to be the Robinhood, the Fidelity, the Schwab, they're allocating. Get over this, and they don't put any covenant on it in terms of how long you got to hold it for. That would be healthier because then the flippers would flip, which is what you want. And then it would probably be a you know, more stable price. But I think if you put the covenant on where you have to wait a month, is you want to wait a month before you buy it because you're going to have a massive amount of stock coming into the market when it's finally free and clear to trade. So staying on the radar on that one is probably what you want to do. And then does it achieve the 137? Does it go above that? I mean, these are huge. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I've never seen a deal like this. So, but when you tie up stock and you don't let it be in the market, I don't like that at all. I just, what's the point of going public? That's the whole idea, is just let happen what's going to happen and let the market be the market and let price discovery work on total liquidity for whatever the float is. And I think if that's the case, and you'll know it before it starts trading, you know, maybe you take a third on then when it starts trading, and then you wait and see what happens. And if there is a covenant where it's not liquid, you wait.
There's a narrative, you know, kind of floating in the background as well around the Elon Corp angle to this as well. There's going to be, you know, a lot of people who are fans of Elon, who love, you know, the vision, who love, as you were mentioning, you know, what he's done as far as execution in the past goes. I mean, a lot of people have said at some point Tesla just gets rolled into this and it's just one giant Elon Corp. Is that more attractive?
Yeah, it is actually, because I think what Tesla becomes is a robotics company, whether it's a self-driving car or industrial robots or whatever. I know a lot of people work at it's, you know, not as many as SpaceX, but certainly at Tesla. They're world class. I mean, those guys are so on mandate and so efficient and so fast in terms of getting stuff to market that I think you're buying into that. I would never bet against this guy. I just have a lot of respect for what he does, but mostly his executional skills. You know, there's this theory, and I saw it. I used to work for Steve Jobs. I may have said this story to you before. He was very difficult to work with because I did all his educational software for him, but he had this one thesis that he imparted on me back in the 90s, which I've been using a lot lately. He said, you only have to get 3 things done a day, only 3. And not tomorrow, in the 18 hours that you're working, those 3 have to get done. They're called the signal, and everything that stops you from getting the 3 things done, that's the noise. And so he believed in an 80-20 ratio, and it made him very socially difficult. Because if you started talking about something that was not on one of the 3 things, he'd just blow you off. I mean, he was rude that way, and he upset a lot of people. However, I see that in Elon because I've had a chance to meet him a few times. He's 100% signal. He'll just walk away. I mean, the minute he thinks there's no valuable information in the narrative, gone. And I think that's why he achieves so much, but there's a cost to it. But that guy is extraordinary. You know, maybe he's from another planet, who knows?
I have to say, and I'm not just saying this because you're very kind with your time to us and a friend of the show, obviously, but if anyone has not watched your conversation with Stephen Bartlett on Diary of a CEO, you go into that fact in depth and talk about you know, a few other things as well. I won't spoil it. Everyone should go and watch that because it's one of the most authentic, real conversations I've seen. Not only him have, but you as well. So anyways, I really enjoyed that. Talk a little bit about OpenAI, the Anthropic angle as well. Are we seeing some of this pullback in the overall market due to some repositioning ahead of those?
Yeah, you know, I have some interesting observations over the last 30 days on this whole thing. So if you look at the market overall, with all of the issues, the headwinds, let's talk about rising interest rates, let's talk about tariffs, let's talk about war in Ukraine, unsettling in the Middle East, the price of oil from 70 up to 90 and change. Why is the market hitting new highs on all 11 sectors? What the hell is going on? And I'll tell you what I think it is. When I talk to the index companies, the S&P 500, the big guys, and I still do a little indexing out there from the days of O shares, because we're still indexing. And I also look at my portfolio of over 50 private companies with employees 5 to 500. Every single one of them, the #1 fastest growing cost is their adoption of AI licenses. No matter what sector it is, it could be real estate, it could be consumer, it could be energy. They're adopting this tool to do 2 things, enhance margins and enhance productivity. And it's showing up in all the earnings. So it's offsetting all of this stuff that's going on with the list of litany and tariffs on, and it's making the economy more. So I don't think that's going to stop. Now, within our own enterprise, when you start to see the cost of your tokens every week, I mean, for me, it's just going up geometrically because everybody's using the tool. We were using multiple tools. So we started shopping for enterprise license. so that we could, give everybody a license at a discount, and we would use one stack. And so, I could have dictated which one it was going to be, but I said, let's be democratic. Let's take a vote. Let's say majority wins. Who wants OpenAI, ChatGPT? Who wants Claude? Who wants Gronk? All this stuff. 99%. Only one dissenter was me, because I don't know how to use Claude. And I'd already spent all that time on other stuff, but we went to Claude, and now I'm a Claudette. I mean, that product is such an incredible tool. It's beyond anything I even dreamt of. And so I can't live without it. I use it every single day for all kinds of things. I mean, just unbelievable productivity in my own time. That's happening millions of times over. So it's here to stay. Now, trying to guess the stock price of these things, it's like I said earlier, index, buy them all, and just allocate that amount and wait and see what happens. I can't guess how long Claude's the king, but we won't be changing anytime soon. This stuff is crazy good. I mean, just crazy good. And the way it interacts back into enterprise, well, you can say to it, okay, develop it into a PowerPoint presentation, or I want a Word doc, or I want a spreadsheet, and I want you to send it to these 5 guys. Boom, right off your phone. I mean, look, I'm sounding like a commercial for these guys, but I am.
It's a fan. They're literally changing the world. I had this conversation with my wife. I was like, she's in insurance. I'm like, you've got to be using this every single day. Like it's like having an entire team working for you. You can get rid of your team if you need to. But thank you for coming on, Kevin. And I just have one question for you, because you spoke our language when we talked about letting the free markets work. We had a lot of our viewers who, like yesterday when we were talking, a lot of them don't want the issue, because they're being threatened, might be the right word, that if they sell, they can't participate. You have a voice to be able to talk to your broker. What do we suggest for people that are in this spot, being put in a difficult spot by their broker to take this allocation in SpaceX, who might want future ones as well? We're writing letters, we're campaigning. What are we doing? It doesn't seem fair to me.
Ignore it. Sell it anyways if you want.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, just dump.
The market's the market. Having somebody, there's no deal covenant in that. You don't have to do anything. That you're going to be punished by a service provider? Move your money.
There it is.
For me, that's complete bullshit, absolute bullshit, and I would never tolerate that.
No, I'm glad you didn't pull any punches with that, because I think that's right. There are other brokers out there. Your broker works for you at the end of the day, and if they're not working for you, then pull your money and go somewhere else. To that point, you said you're not picking favorites. Just go even all of them. Not even a little bit? Not even a little bit? You don't favor SpaceX?
By the way, he came with that BS to me, and I said, stop right now. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do whatever I want. And so he said, okay, I had to tell you that. I said, that's nice. Don't start again. And then we talked about the strategy of what the allocation, because you really don't know the pricing yet on the Anthropic. You kind of have to say, well, I'm going to put in X, but what my point is, keep some powder dry, because they're coming fast and furious. And so you don't want to be offside, and I don't think you want to margin these too much. The vol's going to be crazy. And so, don't, vol on tech, on IPOs is crazy chicken. Don't do it.
No, I agree. We saw that with Cerebras. It was insane. And you're right. That's a very good point about not knowing the price. Like you can prefer SpaceX, but you don't know the valuation's going to come out in a few months on OpenAI. So unless you can predict that future, you could make a better and more informed decision. And thank you, Kevin. But I want to emphasize that point for all the viewers out there. You can move your money. Broker works for you. Great point.
Yeah, there's so many options out there these days as well. Kevin, I did some research on BitZero. I want to bring it back to that because, being Canadian, and we shout out Canada, so I got to do this right now. We always talk about Wayne Gretzky, skate where the puck is going, not where the puck currently is. So for an idea that I think a lot of people have right now is nuclear and uranium, and I was doing some research there. You guys are a little bit into nuclear in Finland there. And I know that you've been buying some property and looking at that with the US recently there with a $2.7 billion grant from the Department of Energy into uranium. Where do you think that trade maybe potentially is going in the next year, 2 years, maybe 5 years? Is that where we're moving to when we talk about data centers and energy? I know wind is also something that you guys are looking into.
Yeah, I mean, what I've talked to all the hyperscalers now because I'm trying to keep on my theme of picks and shovels in terms of where they're going. They all have different strategies, but you know, it's public that Google, for example, major player, when they build out a new data center, they want a combo of nat gas, battery, sodium ion, solar, and in some places where you can get it, wind. And so their strategy is to, and I said, well, that's kind of a green story, right? And he said, no, it isn't. When you actually, the reason we do that is a better economics on power, because it's very hard to get below, but BitZero has is sub 6 cents a kilowatt hour. That's unheard of. It's almost impossible to get anywhere stateside or in Canada. Alberta, maybe you can pull it off, maybe. It hasn't been proven yet, but I think it will be. There's a lot of interest. You know, for example, Canada, Manitoba's saying, well, you know, we're going to shut down all data centers, not understanding why would you do that, because they have a lot of hydro. But Alberta is trying to get people to come up and build there, and makes sense because Canada's under great stress to find new business. I mean, you know, our GDP is negative. Yeah, and I'm not blaming that on Carney. I'm blaming it on the Idiot King. But, you know, he did a lot of damage for, you know, for 10 years with policy that shut down everything, and now we're suffering with negative GDP. By the way, just on a side note, I have this company, you'll like this, called Hello Prenup, which is a Shark Tank deal. And you got to hear this. So they issue prenups online. It's a fantastic service. It's growing like a weed. So I, on behalf of the company, offered to Katy Perry a free prenup because she's going to need it.
Kevin,
everything that guy touches goes to zero.
I was going to say when you mentioned that, I was going to bring up Katy Perry and maybe him and her can stop holding hands there at Coachella. Were you at Coachella by any chance there?
No, I went to the Knicks game here in New York. It was
I was going to ask you. I was talking about that yesterday, and I heard that people didn't even leave the arena for 20,
No, but you know, the New York, I'm in New York right now, partly to attend, you know, this stuff, and there's a huge conference tomorrow on exactly this topic. I'm doing one of the keynotes at it on, you know, allocating for this next 12 months on tech and crypto and quantum computing and quant trading, all of this, it's all converging. And everybody, there's government's going to be there because there's a vibe in Washington that they're going to get this Clarity Act done. And you want to be ready for that, because I'll tell you the biggest opportunity next in crypto is, you know, we've been talking about
stablecoins,
blockchain. You know, blockchain. Which blockchain is going to work in the SP 500? If you can figure out which one becomes a standard, you want to be long that token. That's going to be the next monster thing in crypto.
Okay, there it is. We got a little.
And you got to be ready for it. But again, dry powder is going to matter too. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of selling. People are gearing up for a lot of things. Kevin, thanks so much. First of all, I have to ask you, like. Are we going to Game 7 and you're going to be there, or is this going to be over?
Game 7,
or is this going to be over?
No, predictive markets are still keeping it. I mean, you got to watch the predictive stuff by the minute. I mean, everybody's so interested in this Knicks story, and you know, even there's another trade on this thing. The Knicks cards of their stars.
Oh, okay.
Have been trading for nothing because they haven't won anything in 50 plus years. If they pull this off, the best return is going to be on owning a few of the rookie cards of their lineup, no matter what team they're on. You're going to go from like a $500 card to $500,000. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to be insane. I mean, it's speculation, but there's a big market on that people don't know about. These cards, like I've been getting into these sports cards. I can't believe the size, the deal size of 20, 30, 40 million dollars for a card.
Kevin, I saw you were wearing that. You had the Logan Paul there. You got your, what was it, the Jordan, the jersey card, or which one do you have?
Yeah, I'm an investor in that card. We bought it for $12.93 million, just got offered $21 million from a Japanese buyer in Asia somewhere, I think.
Are you ringing the register?
That's from last August to now, so it's a great asset class. But, you know, I know Logan Paul, and I said, where'd you get the chain made? And it, you know, it was some discount jeweler, and I don't do discounts. So I went to the head of Tiffany, said, can you make me a mega chain? I'm talking El Supremo diamonds, the very best, one of a kind on earth. And the head guy at the top of it said to Tiffany, do it. and we built this thing together. And of course, I paired it with the Rolex that had rubies on it, and I took it to the Oscars. It was crazy. And, you know, on top of that, I looked fabulous.
Would you flip that card, or you're looking for a little more than that, or is it a forever hold for you? What do you think about that? From 12 to 21.
I'm in a syndicate with 3 guys that are buying these things, and we bought another 100 and something million since then. And so it's you know how I like index? So we talked about Anthropic and SpaceX.
Right.
I like index. So I don't want everything in one card. And so we mark to market the portfolio every day on Card Ladder, and we're monitoring the ebb and flow of each asset as a prorated amount to what we paid for it. So using sort of a stock analogy to it. And so far, since last August, it's outperformed everything, including my watches, including Bitcoin, including the S&P, including everything.
Here, I'll give you...
I'm having a hard time wanting to sell that one. You know, like, you don't sell your winners, although you think you should. I like this asset class, and then lately, the big auction houses are calling me up saying, hey, when you're rebalancing, we want to be in this business, so let us be your partner.
I'll give you a heads up. Gavin McKenna for the Maple Leafs. He's going to go #1 in the biggest market here, obviously in Canada, in Toronto. That might be something to look out for there. Gavin McKenna, rookie card. Kevin, last time you were here, you sort of dropped and you talked about Marty Supreme and the big screen. What are you working on anything else here? You can let us know, get us into a little sneak peek. Have you been contacted anything else? I think you did a fantastic job there. So congratulations from everybody here at Trader TV on that, from the small screen to the big screen. You working on anything else?
I am.
Okay.
I've read a bunch of scripts. I've been offered a bunch of parts. What you'll learn, because I've never been a scripted actor before, so I've just realized I started at the very top. I had 824 across from Timothy Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow. Hard to do better, and I've noticed, because the scripts I'm getting now are complete shit. And I'm reading stuff, and I'm saying, the story sucks. This isn't going to be a good movie, no matter how well I perform in it. It's just a bad story. Right. I was telling that to my new agent, the guy that does the scripted stuff. He said, yeah, you're going to get all this crap, and you're going to have to choose wisely. You know, but, you know.
You know what I remember, Kevin? The last time you were on here, you're like, I don't know nothing about scripts, but you know, I know
now you're
this one.
already.
And now it's like, nah, I'm not reading that one. I'm not reading this one. That's amazing. But anything you want to show us watch-wise here? I still got my Apple Watch on. I'm still just a simple man.
Here in New York, I'm also keynoting that at Philips, and they're going to be bringing to market one of the rarest resonance. This is a resonance right here, an FP Journe. You've seen that look on a dial, but way back when Journe had no money, 22 years ago, he made a prototype piece for himself and another one, a total of 7. And this one is serial number 007.
Oh, okay. 007.
And so the vibe on the auction, and everybody's talking, is this will breach the highest price ever, because the only other guy that has one is Journe.
Himself.
The other 3, nobody knows where they are. So this could be the only one made with platinum and brass and a little bit of gold in it. It's Philips auction. It's going to be on Saturday. I think it breaks 7 million because of the whole 7 vibe, but who knows? This one is a one-of-a-kind piece because it has 2 12 dials, which is very, very rare, and my name's on it. And then another Journe, the Elegant. I'm in a Journe mode in New York because of the big auction. Journe, as an asset class in watches, has outperformed everything. Everything.
Well,
Why? 'Cause he's alive. He's a living Picasso. You get one of those watches now, it's going up 40% when he moves on to the big watch in the sky.
Oh man,
there it is.
No, that's, and you've been early to that game, and we've been talking for a couple, 5-6 years on the show here with you about watches.
And now you've given everybody the card game as well. So
congratulations.
The card game's crazy chicken stuff. It's so much fun. It's insane. And everybody on the street. When I wore that chain at the game, by the way, with a Knicks player in it. Oh man, it was nuts, and it was crazy. It was just the energy in there. I don't think New Yorkers have ever had a team that finally delivered. These guys haven't won crap for 53 years.
No,
they still got one to go.
Well, yeah, the Yankees had a little bit of a run there for a minute.
Well, you know, I think this game will go down in history because if you watch the last 60, 90 seconds, I mean, you couldn't, that's impossible that would happen.
It was back and forth. You had no idea
It was
a
ridiculous.
coin toss there.
Ridiculous.
All right, Kevin, thank you for all your time today. It has been
appreciate it.
absolutely fantastic. You know, you're welcome back at any time. Just let us know.
You know it.
And good luck with BitZero. Good luck with all the adventures.
Yeah, thank you. I love you guys. Take care.
That you're
we
Thank you,
appreciate you,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Ciao, my
Thanks.
friend. All right, man.
Oh.
All right, well, I'm out of here. That's good. See.
Boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Options. I'm Sharif, and what a fantastic interview with Kevin O'Leary. Always love hearing what he has to say, especially when it comes down to watches, Joey.
When the watches.
The watches was a nice one there.
Pokemon cards.
Oh.
He's
You
gone.
weren't, you weren't part of that AP craze at the mall? Saw that AP craze?
Did you get one?
Absolutely not. Let me tell you something, my friend. Country club membership over watch. Connections